Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
You're counting on the winged Avenger to deliver you from evil, aren't you, my friend?
Are you gonna kill me?
Maybe, maybe not. You could say we're of two minds on the subject. You're a gambling man. Let's say we flip for it. One man is born a hero, his brother a coward. Babies starve, politicians grow fat, holy men are martyred, and junkies grow legion. Why? Luck! Blind, stupid, simple, doodah, clueless luck! The random toss. The only true justice. Let's see what justice has in store for you.
Recorded to you live from the Fight Club beneath Castle Grayskull. This is the Wicked Theory Podcast. Oh, yeah. Here we are again. What? Another day? I mean, another week, another day. Imagine if we did a daily show. Oof, that would be crazy. Anyway, we're back. So, as usual, as Dom. Oh, maybe not. I got Brother Bob.
Hello, hey.
And we got Ed.
Hey!
Ed, who loves to scream into the microphone and
Hello,
overmodulate and make sure that everybody listening is wide awake. Ooh, what was that? I talked right over that, Bob, but I missed it. No, what was it?
That was a little bit of the old Tonight Show.
Oh, wow. Hey.
Since we have a special guest.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
There you go.
Guest
Now,
co-host, so.
so you're like Ed McMahon, I guess.
Sure.
Well, I mean, Bob.
Well, maybe more like
Well, actually, Joan Rivers was the permanent co-host.
All right, Joan Rivers. Oh, you can be Joan if you want to be Joan. Bob,
Joan,
what was
and then
that?
it was Jay
Ed
Leno.
Mc-
So I'm
instead
one
of
of
Ed
those.
McMahon, Ed McSuperfan.
Okay.
That does work, though.
I'll take it.
I mean, you know,
Ed McFan.
I'm just saying because Bob would be Doc
I
Severinsen.
wouldn't say Ed McFan because the fan was just a fan, but he's here. You know, he does some bits on the show. So.
And you don't want anybody to think,
Yeah,
he's a
so
fan of
Got to
McDonald's.
be a little something. Still got to rhyme. So super fan.
It works.
And I have a plethora of nicknames, and I'm always looking to add more. You know, there's Pork Chop.
Yeah, you'd like to swap them out.
Captain, my captain.
Oh, good Lord.
At Twilight. That's my latest one.
Is
Well, your
Twilight?
wrestling
That's what
one
they
is
call
ham
me.
and egg, isn't it?
No, that's what they call me.
Jabroni.
That's what they call me at work.
Twilight.
Twilight. I think it's because my first name's Edward, but
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. I thought maybe it's because you just have like a sparkle in your eye or
For
something.
the same reason they could call you Scissorhands.
That's true. You could just be any old Ed. That's
Or Wood,
you know.
Ed Wood.
There you go. That's probably the best one so far, though. Then if you're gonna go just on the Eds alone,
It can also be a porn star name.
well, it does work in California, in the sunny side of California. So, kids, yeah, we're here. We're rocking it out. Dom didn't make it this week. He had a what I don't know what he had to do.
he's indisposed.
He's indisposed at the moment.
Somebody locked him in the bathroom.
And he decided it'd be a good time to poop. So we'll see. You kids, in the fan club, the Dom fan club, you guys can just bear with us. It's a week without him. He'll be back next week. And, you can write in an email and complain about it. He was supposed to write in an email. He said he was going to. And I didn't see one in there, so...
Well, the recording's not done yet.
That's
so,
true.
You know.
I could check again before we wrap up. And
I
make sure.
have hosted many podcasts.
Oh, my God. Have you?
Where people have sent in emails while we were recording.
And only from like 25 feet away.
Yes.
Because they were in the audience at the comic shop and they were like, oh shit, if I get it in now, they're going to read it in like 5 minutes. Ooh, what can I write? And then it's like, Then you guys spend 25 minutes giving them crap about their grammatics because they
Oh,
rushed
yes.
it so fast that the email is like almost ununderstandable.
Can we get some spell check?
Yeah, you know, I need an
Actually,
internal
speak
spell check.
check.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That's what I was going for. Speak check. So, real quick, just want to give a shout out, a little heads up. Steph from Gotham Lights helped out with the opening line, which is, I kind of put a little thing out there amongst a little group of friends, and I was like, hey, man, we do a little opening line thing. Anybody got anything? And she just suggested Castle Grayskull, and I turned it into a Fight Club thing. So,
You know what? If other people want us to suggest other openings,
yeah, I mean, could they?
Where could they send them?
I think they could actually send an email.
Send them to Castle Grayskull.
No, because I don't even know if they have a mail system out there. I've never seen the Eternia mailman, but he's probably
Manny Faces. Isn't that one of his jobs?
Probably, yeah.
The mailman.
And he always spins to the monster,
The
and then
Faces.
he spins to the monster one, and then it gets all messed up.
Yeah, they might have had the Pony Express at one time, but getting over that mode is
It's some serious business. So people could send an email to podcast at wickedtheory.com.
Yeah, I think that works.
Yeah, I think that'll work. Send those lines in, send those suggestions in. We like that stuff. And also,
could they tweet suggestions?
they could definitely tweet at me. At Wicked Theory and suggest that way, or if they already follow me, they could send it to in a DM if they wanted to keep like it a secret and keep the suspense alive, kind of thing. Like I don't want anybody to know before it airs.
DM, keep it on the DL.
Yeah, do it a DM, DL, but just be funny, I guess.
A DM about a BM on the DL.
The BM.
As long as there's no LSD involved, I think we're okay.
Oh my God, we gotta get over these anagrams ASAP.
LSDM.
They're not anagrams; they're abbreviations. There's a huge difference.
Fill me in.
All right, no.
Fill me in.
Oh no!
No! We got time. It's a fucking 17-hour show.
An abbreviation is when it's just letters. An anagram is when they actually form a word.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Well then, I stand corrected. And, highly embarrassed. Thanks for making me feel like this, Ed.
I do what I can.
Okay. And so if you're listening on a device that allows you to subscribe, rate, or review this show, I don't know why you would do any of those, but
please.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway.
yeah, cool.
Come on, man, show some confidence.
No, I mean, I got it. It was just like coming out of that last little bit. It was like, you want more of this? You want more of this crap? Come on down.
I'm dying for more of this.
Well, yeah, you also actually know me, so there's something. I think there's something to it. Like when you actually know the person and you listen to their show, it's like, listen to that guy suffer.
We shared Staten Island ferry rides together.
Imaginary Staten Island ferry rides together. Let me tell you a little story, Bob. I'm listening to WCBJ Radio. That's the podcast for Comic Book Jones.
Right.
And he mentions that at one point, and I don't think it happened.
Yes,
He's like, me and Bill Sweeney took a ferry together, and I'm like, did we really run into each other on a Staten Island ferry?
Yes.
We did?
I know. I want to say it happened several times, but at least once.
My thinking at the time was that, I couldn't recall when the last time I took the ferry was, unless I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were kind of coming in and out of the city. And I think you were working in Manhattan at the time. Yeah. And that's why it struck you as something that happened. And I got to thinking in my own head, it's Staten Island ferry. It's it's just everybody you went to high school with and their parents basically taking a boat together, like everybody traveling in and out of Manhattan, and of course 3,000 tourists. But I have a feeling it's a place. It's a nexus of bumping into people. Like, you know what I mean? So you might have conflated me with some other tall, skinny guy. Yeah,
I want to say it happened at least once.
Quite possible though.
So it's entirely possible that the two of you did have the same experience and had this actual encounter, but just viewed it from a different perspective. Based on your point of view when you were getting on the ferry. Like, you were getting on with your girlfriend, so you was running into him on the ferry.
Okay, so maybe I didn't...
He ran into you on the ferry, hung out with you all the way back. So it was a ride on the ferry.
Right.
Kind of like that.
I might have lost it in the memory of the evening kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, I could see that, though. Like, okay.
So maybe, it's just...
My mind was somewhere else kind of a little bit because the objective...
Well, you logged it away as an experience that you had while you were with your girlfriend on the ferry.
Okay, fair enough.
Didn't trigger... So when the way he described it wouldn't necessarily trigger the memory.
Right, I'm sitting there thinking like
when did we take the ferry together? I don't remember ever walking physically on a ferry.
Yeah, I don't remember
with him,
spending a half an
walking
hour
off
with
the
you
ferry.
on a
You know,
boat.
so, you know.
Me and you trapped on a
So
boat.
maybe it's just a slightly different perspective on the actual event that is causing
I can see it.
the
Sure.
memory not to trigger.
There you go. I can see it. Well,
Right?
so that's that, kids. I hope you enjoyed that.
Maybe the two of you walked onto the ferry holding hands, and
Oh.
you needed to block that out of your
Now
memory.
that
Sure.
might be it, and I might say something by
after a
why
night of drinking, then
and why Ed remembers it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a little thing, but it was good times. I mean, I just remember sitting there like I don't recall that. I think Ed's making that up, and I was gonna because I thought because you're known to kind of like on that show like throw out like things that only one person's going to get like sometimes on that show, and so I figured it was a thing where it was just like, well, Bill will know that I never ran into him on the ferry, so he'll just hear this and it'll be like.
I mean, to be honest, there were a couple of guys that happened with.
I mean, it's basically I attributed it basically to the same kind of thing when they like referred to me as the serial killer in training. I think was what they called me, or in the serial killer in wait. Maybe like I was lurking in the bushes already, but I just wasn't sure if my skill set was up to it yet.
Waiting for that last straw to snap, that psychological straw,
and just pounce.
There's one
and
other
start making skin suits.
Gee, he was such a nice guy too. Oh my God, he did that.
That's an amazing skin jacket he made. I didn't know he could sew.
There's one other person who that happened with.
Okay.
Who I had also coincidentally ran into at a Greg Proops show.
Oh, okay.
At one of his Smartest Man in the World podcastings, and about a week later, I ran into the same person on the ferry, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me.
I kind of felt that. I kind of felt that happening right now. Like I was like, Ed doesn't recall who this person was.
I know it's something. Last name is Italian. I know there's a B and a C in there somewhere.
And a consonant and a vowel, maybe.
Yeah, just about any word in it.
Yeah.
There you go. It's Johnny Baklava.
Yeah, it could be like bocce ball.
There you go.
Actually, it sounds similar to bocce ball.
You know, it's bocce balloon.
Vecchione or something like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can just make it up.
Bocce
There you go. Oh, okay. Now I know.
Bacchanali.
I went to high school with that kid. See? It all works. It all stands. All right, kids, listen. We have a second podcast we've been doing. Crazy. Well, we did one episode. Preacher versus Preacher. It's our.
Did we do this while I was like sleep podcasting or something?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a haze, like because we did like several hours.
Yeah, we did like several hours all at once, and we just.
Like what? But it's no.
That preacher.
It's
I remember now.
It's no 24-hour podcast. I'll tell you that.
No.
But
that was an awesome event.
Good times. Let me just stop and think about it. Okay,
so Preacher versus
Preacher versus Preacher. So that's out there, kids. And actually, it went up on iTunes the other day. So if you didn't listen to it because you're all about the iTunes and not so much about listening on a streaming service, hey, iTune it up, yo. So search for it there.
Full disclosure.
Disclosure, Ed.
I have not subscribed to it yet. I plan.
Well, you couldn't have because it only went up the other day.
Yes.
And I didn't announce it till today.
Okay.
So. Chill this recording and a tweet I put out.
But as of right now, you have no.
Yeah, I mean, really, get your phone. Where's your phone?
No. Okay.
Where's your phone?
I haven't subscribed to it yet.
Okay.
But I hear great things.
Okay. Did you hear them from anybody besides us? That it doesn't. Yeah. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I'm just saying. I mean, technically, yes, you did hear great things.
I've heard great things.
Great things. And we want great things from that podcast, people. So, look, if you haven't read Preacher, but you're thinking about maybe reading Preacher because you know it's a perfect time because you know there's a TV show coming based on Preacher, well, hey, we're going to do a podcast where we compare the two because we would do that anyway. There's just not enough room in our show. We've been talking about it. Enough of that. But find it on iTunes. You can follow Preach versus Preach. It's VS verse. I should just say verse, not verses. Preach versus Preach.
Sure.
On Twitter. And follow it from there, kids. Yep. And that show will kick off sometime May or June.
All right, if you got to get Preacher, then you're gonna have a little trouble. You might have a little trouble right now because everyone's buying it. So
yeah, it's selling out.
Yeah, call up your bookstores. Look around online. Because now's the time to get it. So
stock up now because get the first two books because you'll get one book and then you'll be like, damn, I want the second book. Guaranteed.
Well worth the read.
Ed, are you gonna read that book and then be part of this goddamn show we're doing? This other show? What do you think, Ed? What are the chances?
I'm thinking about it.
You thinking about digging out your old Preacher book? Because I heard that you had one.
I do have the first trade.
You didn't burn it or anything, right?
I mean, I think that the copy I had was printed sometime in the 90s. So
Okay.
I don't know if they've had an updated version with special features.
Well, not about
color.
special features, but there is a second kind of repackaging of it.
Right, there was like a more condensed version, so it's not as many trades. So
Yeah, it went
what
from
you
like
have
9
might
to
be half
6.
of the next trade. Yeah.
So keep that in mind if you're going to try and pick up from where you left off in the packaging of it. Like you probably had the trade paperbacks, and then they started doing books. Maybe
they got collections.
Yeah, they're getting cool.
Right.
They're getting sophisticated now. They're books. They're no longer trade paperbacks. No more TPBs. So like Dom read them all in books. So there were 6 of them versus the trade paperbacks were like 9.
Yeah.
So it's just a little thicker. I'm sure it's all about price point. But so there's that.
Right.
So the next thing on my list is that it's kind of, I don't know why I want to put it out there. It's a little early, but I thought maybe it'd be something to talk about. We have since this is a linear existence we live, eventually we'll get to a 50th episode.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just think about
You have
that.
to start thinking about that. Isn't that amazing?
Well, I feel like maybe we should kind of
Now-
start
now,
thinking about it early,
gentlemen,
just so we're prepared.
I'm going to say this because
All right.
it's from experience.
Okay, hit me with it, buddy.
Okay, I want you to prepare for this carefully
Right.
because on the previous podcast, which I'm no longer a part of, we planned for
Wipe
big,
that tear from your eye, buddy.
We planned for a big bash for episode 100.
I'm well aware
it
of
was
this
gonna be
situation.
It was going to be at Nürnberger Beer House, and we actually left a space. If you go to that podcast, there's an WCBJ Radio. There's an episode 99 and then an episode 101.
Yep.
And
sometimes there's some talk of doing an episode.
100. And I remember when I left the show, they told me that they would invite me back
Right.
for
They
episode
would allow you
100.
back in the building
Yes.
if you promised to be a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And I'm still waiting for that invitation.
yeah, because I think they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. And I don't think it's going to happen at this point. I actually mentioned it to him. I was like, so is that episode 100 like ever really going to happen? He's like, yeah. It's one of those things like every day passes, it's just one more day of it not happening. Like, and I fall into the victim of that kind of shit.
I just had
So
an idea,
we're
but I think it's more of an off-air, right? It's an off-air discussion.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if it involves strippers, it's definitely off air.
Well, yeah.
Paint strippers.
There could
Paint
be
strippers.
There could be strippers.
Furniture
So-
strippers.
what I'm telling what number are we at right now?
This is going to be 27?
27.
Yes.
Okay,
We're
so
over the hump. We're on our way.
you should start thinking about what you want to do now,
Mm-hmm.
and the minute you know what you want to do,
Right.
plan it.
Yeah.
Like-
Put it
like-
in play.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Don't
pause
hesitate.
it. you know.
Right. Get the sandwich early. Put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Potato salad, macaroni salad, streamers.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Like I have no idea what to do. So I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something a little bit different than we normally do. Something special. Maybe doing a live episode. I think that's I think that's a scheduling thing for us, though, just to make sure everybody can be around that particular day. Like sort of mean like a Friday or Saturday night. Which probably shouldn't be too hard.
So
Right.
send your ideas to Wicked Theory
Absolutely.
to podcast at wickedtheory.com or at Wicked Theory.
There you go.
Yep.
At Wicked Theory on the Twitter. Anybody's got any ideas for what we could do for a 50th episode? Even if it's like small like ideas of what to do during it. Not so much like, you guys could go
Bit
here and
ideas.
record. But yeah, exactly. Bits or lists or maybe some goofy.
Maybe that's the point where we actually put someone's geekness on trial.
That is a thing I want to do.
I've been waiting for it.
I stopped mentioning it all the time because I felt like I was like alluding to something that wasn't going to happen, But yeah, someone's geekiness will be on trial here one day. I just have to find the right person.
I got an idea.
Figure out the bit.
I got an idea for the 50th.
Oh, okay. All right.
Throughout the episode, we come up with 50 worst superhero names. Or something.
That's like a running thing.
It's like a running thing.
Okay.
Throughout the show, it's like.
And the goal is to try to hit 50.
Go to Staples and get a bell, right?
Gotcha. Okay, sure.
The hotel bell, right? And then like every minute or so, every minute and a half, like just like ding, all right, and just out of the blue, it's like
you gotta like point to somebody,
yeah,
and it's like their turn.
Right?
Or,
everyone's got a list, and they got to read one off their list, or something like that. And it's like Captain Custard, ding,
right. Well, Bob's got one now. Fucking starting early. Way to go, Bob. No, well, I think that's the kind of thing. Like for me, it's funnier
just
if
in the middle of middle of whatever's happening, just to break it up.
I feel like it's the spontaneity of it is what ends up being funny for me. as opposed to having a list. But I know not
Right.
everybody's comfortable unless they kind of have a list. It's like, I'm not funny, like when you point your finger at me, so don't put me on the spot, please. Like, not everybody's
Okay,
cool with that.
right, so-
But I mean, I am,
Right, well, right, so
and
just
doing
have
it to
one
people.
person be
But
responsible for doing the list.
well, there you go.
Like,
So Agent Palmer.
Well, maybe we just
and-
only have professionals on the show. How about that?
How about that? How about you start getting some real fucking talent, and then you ain't got to worry about mine.
But then we got to start paying people.
Well, we do promos. We do plugs. We pay them in
We're
plugs.
still praying for people.
So you can see Vic Delabello at the Tropicana. Okay, so that's going to kind of wrap up the official business. So if people want to help out with that, have ideas, send them in, contact us. So outside of that, oh shit, do you hear that? That's the fucking email jingle. We got some emails. Lots of emails. Most of them are from Ed, but they are emails. Unless somebody else is sending some in. They are just going to be Ed mails.
You want me to jump right into it?
I wasn't fucking done talking, but since you're eager beaver, yeah, go ahead, man. No. You're here. Take it over.
All right, fine.
Okay. Ed, you got some emails you might have
We'll just
written
take
in?
the cream of the crop here.
He literally did really write these emails in. Just want people to know he did come here prepared with them written out, just in case. But he did really write these in. I saw them earlier.
So right off the top, this is one. You check your mailbox. I sent
Okay.
it to you this morning.
Yes, I think you did.
Gentlemen,
Sir.
is it time to let Tommy Lee Jones play a supervillain again?
Oh, what supervillain did he play?
He played the original Two-Face.
Two-Face.
Oh, yes.
That
of course.
version. That version.
Of course.
Red-Face
And,
Two-Face.
Forever.
I think at this point we can forgive him for that one.
Yeah, we forgive.
I don't know if we'll let him.
We forgave everybody in that movie. So
Yes. I think the part of the reason I asked this question is because last week Nicole Kidman and she's in talks to
right.
star to
Be Wonder Woman's
play
mom.
in Wonder Woman.
Right.
Which no one can agree on how to pronounce that character's name.
Oh, it's a Greek name.
Is
so
it
it's-
Hippolyta? Is it Hippolyta?
I like Hippolyta.
Hippolyta. I like Hippolyta.
I feel like it's very Americanized kind of thing we do with
Right.
names. Like, just make it into whatever we want it to be.
Find someone who speaks Greek.
Oh, that makes that makes too much sense, Ed. Stop bringing your fucking logic to the
Well,
show.
We won't have to go look for him. Pretty soon they're all going to be coming over here anyway because the country's broke.
There you go.
They'll be coming here.
There'll be a whole lot of
With ISIS
Hippolytas.
and everything, they're on their way.
And the problem is, like, Tommy Lee Jones would have made a great Two-Face.
I think in a
It's a good
different.
choice.
I think in a different setup. Yes,
The problem is
all of them actually would have been better
movie
in a
was
different
meant to
Batman
be.
movie.
the problem is the wrong Tommy Lee Jones showed up.
The wrong time.
We got Natural Born Killers Tommy Lee Jones when we really needed the fugitive Tommy Lee Jones.
You know what?
Yeah.
I could see the appeal of getting the natural born killers, Tommy Lee Jones, over the top, twirled mustache, fucking.
Because he got that wacky voice.
We're gonna do it different, boy. Let me tell you.
They
But
did
It's
that
killing me.
you love her,
that Southern
you hate
accent,
her.
right? You know what?
Mallory
What about De
Knox.
Niro? De Niro looks like he's ready to pretty much do anything.
Well, here's what I was going to
His
say
age
about it
has
in
come.
general
So-
is that, I think there's an age issue to a degree where it's like, Robert Redford, was going to make a great villain too, but it's like, well, because he's of a certain age, he's going to have to
so
play a
he's the
senator. That's what I'm saying. He's going to have to play a senator, or
Right. The Vulture.
Robert De Niro has
Yeah.
the Vulture.
Well, I think
No, I was thinking Robert Redford is the Vulture.
Yeah.
He's lankier. Yeah, it's
I
a good
think
call.
with most heroes, there's an age limit. There's kind of like a specific,
There's a window.
yeah, there's a window
Yeah,
for
30 to 40.
I mean, it depends on the type of villain.
25 to 40, I think.
35 to 36.
There are plenty of villains who could be played by older actors.
No, don't get me wrong. I just feel like there's a certain amount of, damn it, we're doing enough suspension of disbelief in these movies as it is. But now you want me to, feel like your grandpa's got a power suit on and you want me to buy that. You know what I mean? He should be all upset about the grandkids, That should be the real motivation. And let me tell you something. There's a motivation for a villain to fucking take over something because my grandkid talked me into it. Because I'd do anything for my fucking grandkids. Let me goddamn tell you. Fucking... Because I think there's a lot of people nodding to that one. Grandparents will just move. They will rob a bank for their
So when
grandkid.
$5 and a birthday card ain't enough, you get Grandpa
Nope.
to put on a
Nope.
power suit.
No, like Breaking Bad would have made more sense if he was doing that for his grandkids. Like, you know what I mean? I gotta cook this meth, otherwise my grandkid's never gonna go to college. You know, so I gotta make sure, little Jimmy.
Goddamn mother's a meth head. I gotta come back, so I gotta start making this.
I didn't give a
kids from school.
I didn't give a shit about my own kids, but these grandkids, they're the eye of the universe. You know what I mean?
Tell my own son who's got he had multiple sclerosis or something.
Yeah, some debilitating thing.
Yeah.
I pushed him down the stairs and whatever. But the grandkid,
the
grandkid,
the perfectly physically fine grandkid. No
Well,
problem.
the grandkids always love you.
Well, that's what it is. You know, that's what they think is going to happen.
Well,
but they don't realize that once that kid hits like 12, 13, he don't give a shit about giving a shit no more.
Well, that's because they don't know Grandpa. You know, they don't know the guy he was before he was Grandpa.
Well, that's true. That ass kicker. So, Ed, I don't know if we even answered that question because we're so far from it. I don't remember what it was.
I believe you said yes.
Okay.
The consensus was yes. It is.
Okay.
Everything after yes.
Fucking tangent.
Okay.
Jesus.
Now,
It's both of us.
I can tell you this question is going to be a little more difficult to answer.
Wow, that's probably not going to be a good thing.
Gentlemen,
Sir,
where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
Connecticut. What do you want? You want to know specifically in Connecticut? I don't know the address, but I mean, she's in Connecticut. She's retired now, and she's tired.
Yeah.
She's not running around anymore. She's like, I found my luggage, and that's it. I can go home now. Dude, that's all she was doing. She was just trying to find her fucking luggage. She was chasing after her luggage the whole time. She took one Delta flight. They lost her bags, and she was like, all right, well, I'll go to Botswana to get them.
Gentlemen,
Sir.
All right.
We'll just
I
go
guess that says it all right there.
right past that one.
who was the goofiest supervillain on TV in the last few years?
Me on Bar Karma, episode 11. That's for anybody who gets it.
Just so anyone who doesn't know. That
No, don't fill it in. Just don't fill it in. If they want to know more about Bar Karma, episode 11.
All right.
It's out
Look
there.
it up. Bar Karma.
Episode 11.
Episode 11.
The tragedy continues. Okay, so the question seriously is, what is the goofiest supervillain on TV?
Mm-hmm.
In the last few years.
Because I mean, as great as the superhero fare has been on TV
yeah.
the last couple of years, they're always, you know,
They don't tend to get as goofy as they used to, but
I can't compare Skeletor.
well, I mean,
back in the 80s.
that is the 80s.
well, I mean, you had, like Mark Hamill's The Trickster was goofy, but in a great way.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's a good
borderline.
example. I actually like that one.
It's borderline a little
Yeah,
bit
oh, yeah.
sometimes because he's, at least on the original Flash series, it was all about camp.
Yes.
And now on this one, it's putting the camp to the side a little bit,
Mhm.
but not too much because that guy is just wacky for
And
wacky's sake.
What about the character he played in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Oh, Cockknocker?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's a good one. Mark Hamill. We can do a list of
Mark Hamill. That's what came into my head.
Yeah.
Not Star Wars. Not anything he ever did.
I almost
I
just said
pictured
Mark
Cockknocker with
Hamill.
the giant fist. You know.
But yeah, you know, we should do a list one day of all the good Mark Hamill roles besides Joker and
He wants
Luke
us to be what,
Skywalker.
a top three?
If that's all there is, that's all there is.
I mean, there's Corvette Summer. Yeah,
Okay.
Pardon?
Corvette Summer.
That was back in the late 70s.
That was
Is that the character's
It was
name?
like
No, that's the
1970s.
name of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Village of the Damned.
Village of the Damned. All right.
Yeah, he actually had a great recurring role on Sequest DSV.
That I could believe.
Yeah.
That I could believe
Mhm.
because it's
He
animated.
was also on daytime. One of the
Soaps?
Yeah, he was. a
Oh
soap.
yeah, is that how he got his break?
That's how he
Maybe.
got his break, I think. Him and Harrison Ford.
Oh,
Harrison-
sure,
yeah,
sure.
Harrison Ford was a soap actor.
Well, so many of those guys.
So
So many people. It's not, and then it's not around anymore. So it's like
Carrie,
everybody gets their.
She was just happy to be working, I think, because
Oh,
her mom's.
They're still out there.
No, I know. There's not as many, but I was going to say is that people they used to get their breaks on soap operas. Now they get them on episodes of Law and Order.
Yeah, as a dead body.
Your strap came undone there, buddy. I don't want you to accidentally
right.
drop your guitar. Yeah, so as far as goofiest, that's hard to say. Goofiest. I mean, some of those Flash on the new show, secondary kind of guys, they borderline on a little bit of goofiness in the first season. Some of those
Sure.
kind well, yeah, I mean, that's a debatable thing,
The show that's not come up yet that I think has a lot of goofy villains is
Walking Dead. Those zombies are so silly!
I was going to say Gotham.
That is nothing but
You know,
goofiness to a degree.
I got to say, I really struggled to watch that show.
Yeah,
because
it
of
is.
Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
Fish Mooney just was not working for me.
But that's a show that we like. You can make a list.
I don't watch the show, but all he had to say was Jada Pinkett. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But it's a show that you can make that list, though, of the things that are not working for you.
Yeah.
Because, it's gotten a little bit better. But
yeah, this
they're
season
doing some cleanup on crap that they laid out from the first season. So,
So basically, if you were to come up with a list of things in Gotham that aren't working for you, you could just put Gotham.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now you can put the shorter list is the things that are working. So you would just put Michael Chiklis.
Well, see,
he's good at everything.
That's what I mean.
You know?
Yeah.
He's bold and he's angry. I love
He was
it.
good as the fucking Thing.
Yeah,
And I didn't think that he was going to be able to pull that off.
him and the Torch
he
were the only
didn't
good things in
do
it.
anything with his voice.
Yeah,
I was actually kind of impressed with that.
Yeah. He one of the better parts of casting in that movie.
But the one thing with Gotham you can't really fault them for is they own their mistakes. Like there's a character who got his hand cut off recently,
right?
And they replaced it with just this enormous lead hammer, and he just walks around like that now. They're not going to change it. They're not going to, It's just I got this now, so I'm just gonna deal with it.
I mean, he's a guy who works at the police department, so it's not that big a deal. Everyone looks the other way. No, I'm only kidding. Why? Who did that happen to?
It was Penguin's henchman, the one he's mind controlling.
Who? Bruno or Butch?
Butch, yeah.
Is that what they did with his hand?
Yeah,
I missed that one.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Like my computer faces the other wall, so it's one of those shows where I'll put it on, and I don't bother turning around sometimes to see what's going on.
Just like got a peripheral vision.
I'm taking the audio notes. Basically, it's like I'm imagining it in my head, much cooler. As it really is on the visuals behind me.
That may be best.
But yeah, that's a show that's swimming in some silliness, especially coming out of transitioning from season 1 to season 2.
All they have to do now is change the title to Greatest American Hero.
I wouldn't say that silly. Jeez, kid. I would say it was even better than that. That was my that's my what's his name? Jack. Jack.
Oh yeah, Jack.
Jeez, kid, what are you gonna do? You gotta put the suit on.
I'm an old school FBI agent. Kid.
I'm driving around in this Caprice. Jesus, kid.
I hate black people.
You lost the book,
I
kid.
hate Mexicans. I hate everybody. I'm Archie Bunker with a badge.
That would, if they did the show nowadays, Jack would be the problem. Jack would be the villain, this ultra conservative racist jerk off that fucking blondie boy in the suit had to fucking try and put the kibosh on.
Oh yeah, just make him like a total racist, right?
Just basically like your grandfather. Like, my day, what was what, because it was that way.
The businessman's a black man, and the white superhero Jackson. Just get.
It's gotta be him, kid.
Go get the former.
You know what? PC Police got rid of all those characters.
That's what they.
Yeah. That would be.
Sometimes I miss the obviously racist characters.
Well, you know what? You can have it, but we got to make sure that we have a point where we point out that he's definitely the bad guy.
Archie Bunker.
Someone's gonna wag their finger at him and say you're wrong.
Well, they have to. I mean, they did it with Archie, right? I mean, Archie Bunker every episode.
No, they made him look like an idiot all the time.
And that was the whole point of the show. I mean, and he was, but
And Carol O'Connor was awesome for it.
But the problem is that nowadays there would be too many people. Like if you did Archie Bunker, nowadays there'd be too many people rallying to Archie's defense. Archie's right would be on a fucking T-shirt selling millions of copies. You know what I mean?
They'd be on TV. They'd be on the Home Shopping Network with Archie T-shirts.
It'd be like, I'm telling you, people, Archie knows best.
There's no subtext in the world nowadays.
Those were the days, people.
He's right. Ed made a good point. There is no subtext anymore. People have to it's all or nothing. It has to be.
Everything is judged by face value.
Yeah, because heaven forbid somebody misses the subtext. You know what I mean? And then they misconstrue the whole damn thing because you're trying to be subtle about it and not beat them over the head. And then the people who already know the situation or are thinking like you do feel like you're beating them over the head with it. So you can't win.
And then if you try to defend somebody, you end up, getting lumped in with them.
Yeah, because heaven forbid you fucking misspeak or people think, that means you're you're on his side. It's like, no, I was trying to play devil's advocate, in an argument. That was all.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, now you like Satan? What the hell is that about? Devil's advocate? Who would advocate for Satan? That's crazy talk!
I was brought up in America with the education system here. I know about nothing.
Well, then I would go with that. I'm American. I can worship Satan if I want to.
You happen to be my best friend. Anyway.
That's true, people. That was a low listened to episode. I want you all to go back and listen to Ed and his friend Satan. No offense, but I think people shied away from the Satan for some reason.
Really?
It's a little bit lower than the other episodes. Just saying.
Okay.
Not by a lot. I'm just saying.
Okay.
But you got more questions?
I'll do one more.
Because we're into hour 17 here. on this 24-hour podcast.
do one more question.
All right, well, I'm sure I know you have more than that. All right.
24 hours on
Gentlemen,
We'll try to go through them quicker, though.
Gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
which Peanuts character do you feel most resembles you in everyday life?
What is your first instinct answer?
Charlie Brown.
Okay, yeah, basically me too. I want to say Pigpen, but I'm not that dirty. Like, I'm a little bit messy, but I'm not. To say Pigpen is like, it's too much. Pigpen grown up, maybe, because he's probably got some of it under control by then. You would hope, deodorant at least or something, or the gnats that are swirling around his head. You would think.
I think Ed would be Linus.
Yeah,
really. Because I've had a lot of. Personally, I've had a lot of Charlie Brown moments in my life.
I think he's universal. I think he's universal in that
he's
regard.
Pretty much universal in that regard. He's easy.
And, obviously, the whole, dealing with a woman who just likes to pull the rug out from under you, but hey, I'm not getting personal.
Yeah.
It's just a football.
Anyway.
My sister is Lucy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then you are Linus.
Then technically you are Linus then.
Yeah.
So
You've
Linus
been crushed under the heel.
Yeah, no, she's my little sister. Rules with an iron fist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the best.
How many sibs is there in your house?
I'm the oldest of three. I have a younger sister and a younger brother.
Okay.
I'm the oldest of four. I understand.
Yeah, someone's got to bear the responsibility, people. It falls onto you.
I had to destroy my parents so that the other guys had it easier.
So that we had a chance to survive.
I
was the one that was totally out of control.
We won't get into the discussion, but before we started recording, there was kind of a moment. Right, I thought
we won't discuss it, but here we are discussing it, Ed. I thought we weren't going to discuss it.
All right, I'm just saying. I thought I was going to have to separate you two.
No, that's our dynamic. You know what? How often that happens between me and him? It hardly ever happens.
And besides, we're at separate ends of the table.
And when we get like that, it never gets beyond that.
Yeah, luckily
we never come to swing. Yeah, we never come to swinging or anything.
We both know the other guy's a jerk off.
Now, Bill, I listened to last week's episode.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe you mentioned that you have some questions for me.
Wait, hold on. I'm much more interested in hearing. What did you think of last week's episode? Was it good?
I enjoyed it.
On a scale of 1 to 1,000,000?
It was
a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, that's good. That's good. That's a number. I like it. It's not a 0. As long as it's not a 0. Yeah. What's funny is I mentioned her earlier, but
the
Steph.
musical intro and the outro, they were 1 million, right?
Right. It's all, that's all Bob wants to know. How about those intros and outros? Pretty tight that week,
little
right?
Musical segments.
Pretty nice. Ooh, right in, right out, no mistakes. So Stephanie from the Gotham Lights podcast, who I mentioned earlier this week and also in the past, she's a fan of the show and she's catching up to the back catalog of Wicked Theory. So with that, she came across recently your first appearance. And one of the things that she said to me, she goes, it was quite interesting to get a break from guys who have a New York accent. And to me, it made me realize, holy shit, Ed doesn't really have a New York accent. Where are you fucking from? I leaned totally in and gave him the Inquisition.
I'm not originally...
Let's get the spotlight on.
Technically, I'm not originally from Staten Island.
I fucking knew it.
I was born in Alexandria, Virginia.
Liar.
When my father was...
What, was leading the zombie apocalypse?
No, he was in
that's mythical.
He was in the Army and he was stationed in D.C.
Oh, okay.
Alexandria is a suburb of Washington.
No.
And we moved to Staten Island when I was 10 months old.
Bob's playing fucking...
I'm just trying to remember. I'm like, I know it. It's been so long. I know it.
Ed knows it too. It's like played at all the family reunions.
I just wish there was another banjo to deal with you.
Or to hit you with, maybe. He was good until I looked at him.
That's PD, right?
Almost got through.
Public domain?
Yeah, sure.
It is now.
It is now. It's a parody. We're allowed to get away with it.
But I've lived on Staten Island all of my life,
except for
those first 10 months.
So it wasn't even. It's not even. Doesn't even count. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Oh,
yeah. How was it? You don't sound like you're from New York.
So let me ask you a question then. Are you? Because it made me realize that, you. You're the kind of guy, your speech, I guess, you've decided when you were 7 to have a non-regional accent, and then you've been studying ever since.
I watched a lot of TV.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
And in high school, I competed a lot in forensics or speech and debate.
Okay, so some of that probably
might have come into that.
Your
every once
your,
once in a while that kind of leaks out.
I'm sure it does. But I'm guessing that it's probably what it comes from mostly is the debate team stuff, the forensic stuff, that to keep your diction clean and make sure that you're enunciating all of your words and your INGs and all that stuff, because that's,
Actually, today I'm a little off. I bit my tongue while I was sleeping a couple of nights ago.
I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor.
It only hurts when I talk now.
Well, that's good. Let's keep that to a minimum. All right?
But if I do sound garbled at all this episode, that's why.
That kind of like wraps up the email.
I wasn't sure if you were also referencing a text message I sent you.
Where you kind of were like, hey, nanner, 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 nanner. I was so right. Even though like I was saying the same thing you were saying.
I think it was much meaner than that. But
I mean, I am tempted to pull it out, but I'm not going to do that because your emails are not on trial. Your text messages are not on trial.
You did say I was crazy.
I think what I did was not respond to it, actually.
I think that's the thing. You said, you're crazy. The episode's 90 minutes. There's no way it's going to be all Morgan. And I said, okay, all right.
I figured that if anything, the very end, they were going to give you like some little tease about what we're talking about is The Walking Dead.
Yes.
That they were going to do a Morgan episode. They did do a whole dang Morgan episode. I lovingly refer to as the Morgan Show. But
with the great John.
And Ed was like, "No, I don't see that coming. I don't think they'll." And Ed was like, "No, I got it mixed up. I'm sorry." Yeah. Ed said, "No, they're going to do it the whole episode." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of crazy. That's pure evil." That's not this kind of show.
Yes, it is.
And it is this kind of show, it turns out. But if you want a plaque or something, you'll have to wait. I have to order it.
Well,
I could draw you something out real quick. I do a little doodle. I do some fantastic doodles.
By the way, this week's episode, which will have come out by the time this episode is released.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to find out either.
No. We can do this real quick, but you want to know my theory for the rest of the season? I was talking to Dom about this, and it combines a little bit of his theorizing that we're not going to see Glenn until the last episode of the season. We are. This rolls into news. This will roll into a little bit of news.
I think you may get a flash of him in episode 7 out of the 8. Like what you were talking about the last scene. I think you may get that.
Here's the thing. I'm going to spoil it a little bit for people, but this is not the only community around this area, obviously. But, eventually they run into some other people. And I don't mean bad guys. And my point being that is, what if all of a sudden you just suddenly see Glenn in another community with some other people, like helping them build a fence or helping them dig or just doing some regular life shit. It's like, what? Huh? What? And I think that's how we're going to meet the people at Hilltop. Hilltop is another community that's not too far from Alexandria. So what I'm thinking is that we'll get this little moment that leaves us totally fucking head scratching if you don't read the books. Like, where is he? He's alive? What? And then the first episode back from next season, for next season, not even this batch of episodes. The whole next season, you won't find, this whole season you won't find anything about Glenn. And then you'll get a little scene, where he's there already. What's going on? And that's how we'll meet them next season. First episode back, you get this long flashback episode, a whole Glenn episode. You find out how he survived, how he ended up over there, who those people are, what the deal is, and then jump back to our crew. And
then he'll be the villain of the second half of the season when we find out that he's really just a deadbeat dad.
Right? Oh, he was just dodging it.
He found that out, and he's like, I got to get out of here.
So she's pregnant? Is she really pregnant? How far along? Okay. Don't tell her you saw me. He just runs away from the gate. I was gonna
DNA tests. I can get away with.
That's true, but he's Asian with a white girl, and he's the only Asian dude around. So I don't know if you really need the DNA.
I don't know. Yeah, but if she's into Asians, you don't know. Maybe in her family.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I guess. I guess
No.
if that's how that works, I don't think that's how that works. But and then also, I guess that kind of rolls us into news. We can roll that into news a little bit because one of the other things that seems to be happening is that they have cast the next big bad guy for The Walking Dead. Ooh. so appropriate. Let me tell you, Bob, so appropriate.
It works in so many ways.
So many
situations.
So they've cast Jackie Earl Haley. No, I'm only kidding. Because I just
Freddy Krueger?
Freddy Krueger's going to be on the show. Where's your dreams, bitch? Fucking
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones. He's just going to be a voice in the background. He's going to voice all the zombies from now on.
This is CNN.
Yes. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
He's going to be the next big bad guy. This guy Negan, and I think it's, I don't think you've read the comics, right?
I have not, but
you're aware. Though.
I hear about it a lot through osmosis, and basically,
is this the scruffy guy who died on Grey's Anatomy?
He might have been. I know he's done some TV stuff. I don't know.
I know him from The Losers.
The movie The Losers. He was the comedian in the Watchmen movie.
Yes, that's probably his most...
Thinking about the same guy. He's also on The Good Wife right now.
It's possible. I know that he's got a TV
credit. You may be thinking of Chris Noth.
No, I'm not thinking of Chris Noth.
Okay.
I know who Chris Noth is.
Okay.
The difference. I just want to make sure I'm thinking of the
Yeah,
right
look
guy.
up Jeffrey Dean Morgan on your phone.
Okay, Google, show me pictures of Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Check out these pictures for Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Wow.
Yeah, same guy.
The wonders of technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, and Negan is a...
All right. Tells me what something's going to happen on Good Wife.
Oh yeah, right. That might be it. Yeah. Hey, there's Bob's spoiler.
Yeah. People, sorry to say.
Hope you don't like that guy too.
Show. An ex of mine got me into it. Now I kind of got to finish it. So.
I wasn't gonna pick on you for it, but now you.
But the rest of the plan.
They might have. They might have.
Hey man, it happens to the best of us.
We all get pulled into some stuff we like to try and not admit to.
So don't judge me too hard.
Damn, I'm judging you more for bones now. Ew, still? No, I'm only kidding. You like what you
Sorry,
like.
if it's any consolation, I'm thinking Bones is about done this year.
Oof. Even I was there for like 5 minutes the other day, and I was like, oh boy.
And I didn't realize until I saw it, like people online talking about it. I was like, oh, it's back on?
I guess I wasn't.
All right, I'll watch.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't so caught up in it. So anyway, he's going to join the show, and he's a very over-the-top-ish kind of character.
Okay, now all I know about him is basically that he's a son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah, but he's a fun son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. He's like, we know what that show needs, man. That show needs a guy with a fucking personality. Mm-hmm. And sadly, what they're getting is that, but he's like the worst thing that ever comes down the pike to that fucking show, like in that book.
His personality is going to be the same again. He's going to be a cocksucker.
Oh yeah. He's definitely a big.
Women are going to love him to death, but the guys are like, he's just a cocksucker in disguise. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody's going to love him after a certain point in the storyline.
He's going to do one thing, and then I don't even watch the show. And I know
no, but I mean that's typical. No, yeah, it's not, and also it's not that hard to figure out. It's storytelling. It's modern storytelling.
Right. On a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is the governor, where is Negan?
Well, if 10 is all I can go to...
No, you can go beyond 10.
Oh, okay, then he's a 15, he's a 20, because as crazy as the governor is, like, what's cool about the governor is that he does a lot of crazy shit, but sadly, he's better in the comic. It's like every character in the world. He's better in the original.
Does he do the same thing as the governor, but is it more sadistic? Or
what it is that, like, the character is presented initially very differently. Like, in... the comics, he's the fucking crazy bad guy from the jump. On the TV show with the governor, they try to do this slow roll kind of thing where it's like you didn't really know how crazy he was going to be, what his deal was. They made a very much television version. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm hoping with Negan they kind of like stick to the book a lot more because it's like he's bombastic and he brings all of a sudden some life and energy to the book because he's like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he gets campy or anything, but he's bombastic, for lack of a better word.
Then Jeffrey Dean Morgan is perfect for that. Yes. I mean, if you see The Comedian.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Imagine like The Comedian, but a little bit more chatty and loves to curse. Loves to curse. One of Negan's best quotes in the comic is fuck, fuckity, fuck, fuck, fuck. Fuck.
Well, since they're only allowed two fucks a season, and they have to bleep them out, that's going to be a little more. It's going to be a little different.
Well, it's going to be a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Because they throw that one around. So
they don't use the Battlestar Galactica standby.
No, they don't do the frack or
that's the one that
Frel or
seems
anything.
to have bled through TV.
Yeah, frack.
Frack is a big one now.
Frack for
become big.
for sci-fi shows because it's like you can always play it off. It's also in some homage to.
Or every once in a while you can get one of those Dr. McCoy. Are you out of your Vulcan mind?
Yeah, one of these kinds of things. You know.
Actually, it's funny you say that because I heard both those things in Defiance.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that a lot of times you'll get it is only in another sci-fi thing, and it's like a homage. It's like a little tip of the hat. It's like every pack of cigarettes.
Everybody on that show used to do Star Trek.
Right. Everybody's a second timer from something else.
No, Braga's.
No, that's what I mean. Like from the staff.
From DS9.
From the writing guys.
Last producer on the shows. And
I'm sure half of those guys are guys you don't know from other stuff.
I notice it all the time when I watch them.
I'm sure half those guys are from Battlestar.
I recognize that name.
I'm sure a bunch of
those. Renee Echevarria, Ronald D. Moore. Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
He knows.
Off, yeah.
I didn't invite him here for fucking nothing.
Oh, I know. You're a Star Trek fan.
Well, I didn't invite him here because he's a Star Trek fan. He's a fan of stuff.
To be fair, I had a movie crew shoot my house once for
guns.
The one thing that they were impressed with is I have a DVD rack right next to my TV, and it is all of Star Trek.
Please tell me that was the movie that was shot in your house wasn't like one of those fan ones that are done on Kickstarter.
No.
With, like,
now, what if it was, Bob? Now, what if it was?
It could have been.
No, just a moment. What if it was, and you just fucking stomped on his fucking heart? Like, you know what I mean?
It could have been. It might actually be.
I was trying to make fun of
See, now why is Ed leaving? He's leaving. Ed, come back. Ed, Bob was only kidding. He didn't know.
I wrote that movie. Worked really hard on it.
Stomping out like, I fucking hate these guys.
And I'm really hoping that Satan lets me watch it soon.
Satan is his friend.
Yes.
Just want to remind you, literally, Satan is his friend.
Go back like 2 episodes, listen, his friend, his nickname is Satan.
Mm-hmm.
So
and not really deservingly so, but point being that these guys were like, oh, look at all this Star Trek stuff you got. Is that what you were kind of putting out? They were like, ooh, credits, like kudos to you, guy.
Whoa, that's all of it.
That's it. That's all of it. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about that Star Trek show thing?
It's bullshit.
Yeah, that's behind the paywall thing.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
If that show's good enough to show the pilot episode on network TV, let's show the whole. Whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. You know, like,
and it's the kind of thing that gets me worried about it is because it's a brand new streaming service.
Right.
There's no way to know how much money they're going to put into it. So
fair enough. Yeah. Like how much is
it's CBS going out on their own? I think it's safe to say they're not going to put a dime that they don't have to into it.
You know, and
they might only because they know that this is a whole different kind of thing they're trying to do, and they have to sock some money into it to get the production value up. Because it's going to be an all original kind of Star Trek thing to a degree, but it's going to be in this new universe now. I'm sure it's not going to be anything retro.
Yeah. Well, can't they do what
they could
thing? Because
they
own the TV rights, so they can do whatever they want.
Technically, yeah, they could do whatever they want. But I'm just saying.
So it could be that. I'm
saying practically, what are they going to do? They're going to put it in the new universe, the new setup.
Yeah, but for all we know, it could be based on
90210. It'll probably
Deep Space 90210.
They were going to do Starfleet Academy 90210.
Right. And still,
it won't. It'll probably be in the Abrams verse, but it won't be. It won't be Kirk and Spock.
No.
You know, I'm just like really crossing my fingers that they don't try to do a reboot of Next Generation.
Well, me too. Yeah.
Although it might be...
and not that I wouldn't be excited for it, but just
it seems
and the mission statement for Star Trek is to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Right.
And with both Enterprise and the last 2 movies, while they were good,
right.
We were boldly going to all the places we've already seen.
We're boldly going where we know we've been before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. There's I almost got Bill Cosby on it, but there's a certain something to that.
I like the idea of moving forward. Let's see those new technologies. Let's see those new.
Right. Yeah.
But I think they realized that they painted themselves into corners with too much new technology, because you could theoretically get out of anything, and that's what ended up happening on the Next Generation and all. It was just.
After a while, to a degree.
And also kind of like Star Trek, as much as it is science fiction, good Star Trek TV, the movies are different, but good Star Trek TV is about the human condition. Right.
It's like what Bob said last week. Like, if you're going to do anything on TV, you can get away with being more cerebral. The problem is that TV tends to not do that nowadays.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's all about lowest common denominator.
It's all lowest common denominators, and the only time the shows have ever really been cerebral, they've been outside of the mainstream, trying to make a name for themselves like that.
Yeah.
So to a degree, sometimes it's cable shows or it's projects that are similar like this, where they don't have as much to quote unquote lose. Like, okay, so we can be the smart show and try to build up our audience and our fan base like that. But do I see them doing it with this? Not really. I mean, the only reason that they did it with the original run of Star Trek Next Generation, why that was so cerebral, is because, obviously the original series was cerebral. Gene Roddenberry was still alive to spearhead that whole kind of approach to it. And it was in syndication. So you didn't have a network necessarily. Sure, you had a branch, you had a studio head, obviously, too, looking over.
You didn't have those network notes.
You didn't have the network notes and the pressures.
And that first season of Next Gen, and the episodes are written piss poor. There's a good amount of it. Those first 2 seasons, they're not great.
No.
But
it's the show feeling its way out.
But they spent a lot of money on that show.
Oh yeah. At
the
time,
those
absolutely.
production budgets were.
They didn't know what they were doing back then. They had no idea. There was no book for it. There was no roadmap. So and then you were asking people, because I actually read a book on the original series that was printed in 1967. Yeah, I actually found it in the yard sale for a quarter, right?
I had a feeling.
But in the book they talk about Gene Roddenberry having to tell the crew. Look, we're on an alien planet. None of these plants will play on. They had ficus and they had ferns and they had And
it looks to what we were used to.
He took the plants. He took the plants and he turned it upside down so the roots were standing up. And he told somebody to go get some spray paint and spray the top of that thing a different color. And he said, "Now that's a freaking alien plant."
Right, there you go. Yeah, it's just that simple, really. But
he had to
show them
how to think.
Right, it's every little detail has to feel alien.
Right. So it was a whole different thing. It was a whole different time too. Plus, you got to remember, Desilu Studios was going broke at the time. Mm-hmm. There was without Star Trek, they would have closed.
Well, without Desi.
Yeah. Without Desi, Star Trek never would have off the
glass. Do you know what 2 shows premiered together that year? With the show that premiered with Star Trek from Desilu? Mission Impossible.
Okay. So they had 2 breakouts. They had 2 breakouts that saved them.
Mm-hmm. They should have combined those shows.
That was good for like 4 or 5 years on TV.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Leonard Nimoy, because they still had him under contract when Star Trek got canceled, they just moved him over to.
Yeah, I saw.
Is that why he ended up over there? Okay. Yeah. I can see it. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we mentioned JJ, so I have a little thing in my notes here that I just wanted to point out that JJ Abrams has kind of clarified. I mean, he's kind of been doing a little bit of interview stuff for Star Wars, nothing too crazy. It doesn't really reveal too much. But one of the things I wanted to point out was that he's clarified that the big old Death Star looking thing is something else, and it's called a Starkiller. And it's more powerful than a Death Star. So
hang on.
And what it does is going to be a little different.
Okay.
So
I'm shrugging. We'll I'm shrugging, but whatever.
We'll see.
Now, is this the kind of thing where instead of destroying a whole planet, it can create a black hole and consume a star?
Maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why it's called Starkiller. I like the use of Starkiller, though, because if you don't know...
that's the original idea. Red matter.
Yeah.
I guess, whatever that is.
I would think all you have to do is throw a little methane near a star, light a match.
No, yeah. What I'd like to see with it though, is it just kind of be a thing that hangs around until the last movie. Like, let's not blow one up every movie, and then like they're making another one. I just feel like, the logistics and the time to make a planet-sized spaceship, I don't know. Like, is it like just 3 years is all it takes? Like, okay, that's some union you got there.
Yeah. Well, that's the other side of the thing too. I want to, if they're going to destroy one every movie, let's see what goes on behind the scenes. Let's see the construction guys running around. Oh my God! With his head on fire.
That's your spin-off sitcom.
That's the spin-off sitcom of them like building it. Is the construction guys.
Yeah. It's the general contractors for the Galactic Empire. Kevin Smith would be bonkers to write that show.
Well, that's his whole pitch. That's his whole. That was
his original idea. Yeah.
What about all those guys?
That idea. So
they knew what they were getting into.
Clerks.
There you go.
If you need to know what's going on right now, people, go watch the original Clerks.
So the one thing I wanted to point out about this though is just that what I like about JJ sometimes is that he uses a lot of the names that he uses all tend to have a meaning or come from something. So Starkiller, if you don't. Well, pretty much that's like, but that's him in all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Even if you watch his Mission Impossible movie,
But you
name
got your
choices.
training on this kind of stuff with Lost.
Yeah.
But-
My whole experience with him starts with Alias, jumps to Lost, and then with Lost, it's like.
That's a reference that goes back to George Lucas's original script for Star
And
Wars.
because I couldn't get to it fast enough, Ed's got to steal my fucking thunder.
Star Wars.
That's my fault. Blame me. I cut you off.
So that was the family name in the original series before Lucas changed it from to Skywalker's. It was Starkiller. It was Luke Starkiller, and the family clan was Starkiller.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they changed that to Skywalker.
Yeah, a little softer for the kids. I think
I think no one would have bought the name.
But I like the fact that it kind of came back into the fold somehow, though. Like because it is kind of a cool phrase. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like
it sounds appropriate, if not.
I mean, obviously,
over the top.
If you want more information about that, Dark Horse, I think last year released a graphic novelization of George Lucas's original script.
Yeah, which is like weird.
It's very different.
It's very different, and because the artwork is also then based on like early concept artwork.
Yeah.
Not like the finalized concept artwork.
No.
So to give you this whole other kind of feeling and going into it, because the script has got differences, obviously, but to make sure that the visual is different.
It's weird, like the story and the dialogue, it feels like an adventure movie from the 40s, the 50s.
It's got more of the feel that he originally intoned. You know what I mean? That he originally intended for it too. So it's actually some interesting stuff. I think I have like the first issue of that, but I didn't really follow up because I'm a douche. But that's just my opinion. So also I got this little thing here in the news. Pornhub says it experienced a traffic drop on November 10th. Does anyone want to guess? Either of you want to guess why that might have been, or what they attribute
Is that Veterans Day?
Veterans Day is the next day. It's the 11th. But I turned off my computer. No.
Or maybe it's because we both turned off our computers.
Well, I'm 5% and you're 5% of their overall traffic. Wow. Woof. My arm is tired.
It's all for you, Damien.
Damien, it's all for you. So if anybody, I don't know, does anybody else want to take a stab at what that might have really been from?
What was on the 10th? I'm trying to think.
It was a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
A lot of good TV.
Well, it's kind of in that geeky wheelhouse. Yeah. I'll just say it. Fallout 4 came out that day.
Oh, right.
So all of a sudden, guys had something else to do
besides watch porn.
10% of their overall download, and that's what they're attributing it to, because it's like, what else came out? What else happened that day? That makes sense for our demographic.
Well, books come out those days. Well, no, I don't think people are going to be reading books on Tuesday.
What I'm presuming is that, like, for them to notice a 10% drop in traffic.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
And not only that, but that's never really happens. Doesn't happen often for them. Like, sure, on the Super Bowl or something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they're pretty steady all the time. And
yeah,
pretty busy.
Numbers tend to just keep going
the world
up
most of the time. Yeah.
Right. Now, what outlet reported that?
Porn makes the world go around. After
a few. I saw this. This was actually on the sidebar of my feed today on Facebook.
Okay.
So obviously somebody claimed. They must have claimed it, and then everybody ran with it. But if you ever get any info out of Pornhub like that, they're making it public up front. Like it's not just like a speculation thing. Like they've made some kind of announcement, because every now and then you will see them in the news because they point out random stuff like this sometimes.
Yeah. If they find something on, because occasionally people actually use it like YouTube and put something that's not porn on there.
Yeah, which is the weirdest thing.
Yeah, because I've actually seen reporters report about a video that actually went viral and it started on Pornhub, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. The initial.
How does that happen? Yeah.
It's
like $10,000 has gone viral. I mean,
it'll be something innocuous, but what it is that Jerry's only got a Pornhub account. I don't really have a YouTube account, and this will just be faster, so I'll just put it up on there. It's a squirrel chasing after a nut. You know what I mean?
I care if people know that I watch lots of porn.
It's all right. I figured no one would really see it anyway, but now Mom knows.
Now they figure I watch more porn than regular TV since I'm so lazy. I'm just going to put it on my porn station.
You know what's funny? I'm imagining now the pop culture.
I just let you go. I just let you run with that one, boy.
Right now, I'm imagining the pop culture geek podcast out of Chattanooga. That's doing the same story. They're doing,
this is fucking crazy.
I happen to watch a lot of porn, and that's the only place to put on the videos. That's just.
It's got to be what they do, right? I mean, if you're Chattanooga, right? You got to make fun of the opposite end of the spectrum. I get it. That makes sense. We'll find that show. We'll do a crossover with it. I'm open to it. So, did either of you two see that movie Snowpiercer?
No.
Or are you aware of it either? This is Chris Evans did a mid-budget kind of sci-fi movie in between his Captain America runs.
I saw half of it.
So I hope that you saw the last half because that's the better half. Just saying. So it's got a bit of a twist at the end, but I've seen it and it's really good. And so the hook on this is it's like after the world has ended and it's gone cold, the whole planet is frozen over. There had been put into place this train that was going to just kind of run forever, that the last of society was going to get put on. And, we were all going to live on this giant, long, super long train that's called a Snowpiercer because the front of it will just be able to push through any of the snow that gets on this track. Right, like it doesn't have to worry. You can just perpetually go in this loop. You know what I mean? Why? I don't really know. There is a sequence where they kind of flash back and fill it in. I forget exactly the thinking.
Like a Tomorrowland kind of thing.
Yeah, it kind of is to a degree. There's no real super fantastic element of it.
It's a fun, wacky sci-fi concept.
Yeah, but it's a cool concept. It's like, what would that be? So in this movie, for whatever reasons, not to ruin it too much, but they are progressively trying to get to the next car. There's a group of them. They want to take over control because the well-to-dos in the front cars basically shit on all the never-do-wells in the back cars. So all the people from the back cars rise up and they start making their way to the front. So now they're talking about maybe bringing this to TV. So I was hoping maybe one of you has seen it. If you haven't, no big deal. We can skip it. But
I think it's an interesting concept. Is it something that you can lend to a long format like that?
So that's the thing. Eventually the movie ends. You know what I mean? So are we going to do a thing where they're not on the train and people are trying to survive out in this completely like there's nothing. Like when they do kind of pass through cities and all, like all you see is like the tips of skyscrapers. Like the entire world is a snowbank. So it's like, if you're going to do just the train, are we going to watch 7 seasons? Who's going to watch 6 seasons of them just trying to get to the next car? Is that every season?
Who's going to watch 3 episodes?
There you go.
The only way I think they can make it work is if it's purely got to be about the human dynamic.
Right.
And the fact that they're on a train becomes secondary.
Yeah, I guess you kind of also just take away the whole role.
Season, maybe you bring it out like there's a problem and you have to like roll out of the train and get to another car.
Right.
Whatever. You know what I mean? I'm saying it like this because I haven't seen the movie, so. But you get the idea.
No, yeah. I was thinking about that too. If you take away this impetus to get to the front of the car, or if you play that as the longer con, where it's not like, we are super actively just trying to charge ahead. You kind of slow down the dynamic.
Right.
I guess that's how you do it.
Yeah, maybe they build a rebel faction in the back car, and they got to work
right. They
they
spend the whole season kind of building up the fraction, or maybe people do kind of go from car to car, back and forth a little more.
Some rebels don't like other rebels, and
that's all that kind of stuff. What I do hope they keep is that there's quite a bit of a dark underbelly to it when you start to actually get into the story and like the things that people have had to do to survive inside of this train and the fucked up shit like that has to go on. The really kind of moral stuff that rides a certain line. I really don't kind of hear about too much until like the last quarter of the movie, in a bigger way. How much of that they'll keep, because to me it's like, depending on where you put the show, what network, I think will tell you how much of that you'll see. Like I don't want to give it away, you know what I mean, to a degree, but I can't see some of these story points and elements really being on an NBC show. Like I mean, it's going to have to be cable at least, or pay cable at most. But to me, it just feels like the setup is so limited. You're on a fucking train. You can only go so far up in these cars before they're locked, and like you're not allowed past this point. It just seems like it's going to be. I don't know. I feel like it's just, unless you have some kind of completely outside pitch, and it's about that world, but it's not got to do with that stuff.
I think we should ask the executive producers to come in and tell us what they told Sci-Fi.
Well, Jerry told me yesterday over dinner that he just doesn't want to come on the podcast. So I was like, fine, whatever. What am I going to do?
That Seinfeld asks. What's the deal?
With your boat. Well, maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to do it on a boat.
What's the deal with the train?
Maybe that's what they'll do. They'll do it on a boat.
On a boat.
On a
There you
boat.
go.
I'm on a boat!
Isn't that the concept of like Speed 4?
Boat.
Yeah.
Doing,
But it's not frozen. It's not frozen.
Could
It's
you
not frozen.
Could you on a plane, dirigible?
A dirigible.
Mm.
And then every couple of weeks, someone's got to go up on top and knock the snow off because the snow is just building up and weighing us down. And how are we going to keep afloat?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got you.
There you go.
I got you. Ed's thinking.
Somebody in the front is gonna light a match.
Don't do it. He's got cigarettes.
Oh, the humanity!
He can create a spark. Get him.
And then it'll melt some of the snow for a little while. So I wanted to point out that I saw the trailer for this show called Outsiders.
What, like Pony Boy?
No,
Yeah.
you may wish.
Yeah.
If you thought the greasers were dirty in the Outsiders, oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Wait, see Thomas Howell going to reprise his role?
Yeah, he's
Boy.
gonna teach a class of kids now.
Yeah.
He's got a teacher's license.
He's gonna dress as Pony Boy and he's gonna drive a tractor trailer with somebody tied between two of them.
I'm thinking more like
Remember the
summer
movie?
school.
The Hitcher. Remember the movie The Hitcher?
Bob's going left. I'm going right.
Yeah, you know.
But maybe we come up in the middle somehow.
I believe
Maybe
it or
we
not,
come
I
in.
still remember some of the stuff in the 80s.
No, I do too. That's why I made
I
it.
kind of lived it.
Yeah.
I just made a summer school reference. I'm talking about Mark Harmon here, and so hey, trust me. Hey, we both watched The Hitcher. We were big fans of that growing up.
You know how many careers were launched out of that movie?
Oh, yeah. Matt Damon.
I know which one.
Not Matt Damon. Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon.
Outsiders. Oh my God, the whole
It's
cast.
Yeah,
Dillon,
okay.
Tom Cruise,
Patrick
Estevez,
Swayze.
freaking
Ralph Macchio.
Jim the camera guy. Fuck it. No. But yeah, that is one of those movies that kids, if you have never seen The Outsiders, and you want to see a bunch of baby faces who are just nothing but millionaires now. Big
Superstars before they were superstars.
They're all in
That's
one
the
movie.
movie.
They're all in one
You know,
movie.
it's one of the few movies like since Apocalypse Now that Francis Ford Coppola has directed that's been watchable.
And it doesn't get enough respect. It doesn't get enough talk about it. I mean, everyone loves it when you bring it up, but it doesn't get brought up like other movies.
Yeah.
But this show isn't that show.
That's right.
Right.
So we'll bring it up. Go watch The Outsiders. So anyway, this new show, The Outsiders, which has got nothing to do with that or that TV show that Fox did when Fox first started up. If you remember, Fox had a show called The Outsiders. Remember that?
Please
No, I
tell me
don't.
this is not going to be anything like Red Dawn.
No.
The Red Dawn, the remake was disaster.
Well, to a degree, maybe. So this show, Outsiders, is really about a family that's been living up in the Appalachian Mountains for the last 200 years, who just now we're not coming off the mountain.
Oh no!
Yeah, boy, let me tell you something. Let me tell you what. We own this mountain. That's what the mom says at one point in the trailer. We will not come down.
How have I not seen this trailer?
Because it only came out this week finally. So I stumbled on it, actually, because the name of the family clan is Farrell. I work with my buddy at work is Brian Farrell.
Okay.
So I found it somehow by accident in a Google search. I was like, Outsiders, what is that? And it's on the WGN network. And I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
That's wow, gosh darn network. I don't even know what that is.
I think Manhattan is also on that channel.
Okay, all right. So, so at first I was like, oh, bro, this is like your family story. This is like what you want. This is the generation you want to start because he's he's a hunter and he's always talking about, man, I just love to live off the grid sometime. That would just be great. So with this show, that's what it is. They've been off the grid for 200 years. There's a small town below the mountain and all, and now some land developers are coming in, and it's going to be nothing but fucking tension and stress and strife, and it looks good. And it looks good for me. I really like the look of it. It kind of felt like a little bit like how Sons of Anarchy, you're following the bad guys, really.
Yeah.
That's how this feels. Obviously, the people up on the mountain, granted, it's like, leave us alone, we're living off the grid, but they're basically douchebags. So, during this trailer, they're all riding through the hills on their quads because obviously they're very selective about like anybody else. I'm off the grid, but let me take that motorized device that's current and common. It's like when you watch those Alaskan bush people shows.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, nobody's you're all living off the land, but who's making those blue jeans you're wearing? You seem to be wearing boots that came from a factory in China. Yeah. Anyway. So they come down off the mountain, these people, and they go to the the ShopRite or something like that, some supermarket, and they are just riding the quads inside the supermarket, taking whatever the hell they want, man. They're up aisle 9, man. And basically it's they when they come off the mountain, they do whatever the hell they want to do, but they go back up the mountain. So the town is like, the feds kind of come through, or these land developer guys, can't really tell, it's just like white guys in suits. So they're
That's
like,
all you need to know.
that's all you need to know, evil.
Yeah.
So,
White guys, suits equals evil.
that's always the way it is. So, they say to the sheriff, they're like, oh, why don't you guys, do something? Like, how come you guys never do nothing? It's like, because A, like, we're not going to mess with them.
Yeah.
And they go away. Like, you know what I mean?
us.
Like, yeah, like, like the guy at the supermarket's, like, the manager of the supermarket's, like, showing the sheriff the video, and he's like, well, what do you want to do? You want to press charges? And he's like, well, no. Like, I don't want to get involved in that. Like, you know what I mean? So,
That is none of my business.
exactly. So keep an eye out for that. I thought that was really good. If you're looking for a trailer to watch, it was actually a very tense, like 2.5-minute trailer that looked looked really good to me. So I'm throwing that out there. That's all I got for news. Ed's got some other news. You got a couple things on there, right? Don't you?
Through a couple.
Yeah, hit me with a couple things, Ed.
Well, I don't know if any of you guys heard, but
I'm doing lazy today.
David Hasselhoff
The Hoff.
has legally changed his name.
What?
He's now.
I have not heard
Tell
this.
me he's changed it to what I think he's changed it to.
Can we guess first?
Please?
No, I'm going to say it right out. It's
Go ahead.
now David Hoff.
Why are you giving your own name such a hassle? Did you see that wash over me? Where, like, the joke came to my head, and I'm like, do I even share it? It's so bad. Do I even put that out there?
Well, actually, now his name's No Hassle.
There's no
hassle in his name.
There's no hassle to his name nowadays. No, you're absolutely right.
Just simply, because, I mean, everyone calls him the Hoff.
The Hoff.
Might
But
as
I
well
mean,
just,
At least he didn't change it to the Hoff.
right. The Hoff.
That's what I was That's what I was going to say. The
Yeah.
Hoff.
I think culturally,
Mm-hmm.
this moment has the same impact as when Diddy dropped the P.
I was going to say when Prince changed it to symbol. Just to that
Yeah, well,
symbol.
he was real smart.
Really?
He changed it back.
Because
well.
after that happened, he was only ever introduced as the artist formerly known as
Right,
Prince.
it kind of
We
backfired in
never
his
found
face.
out his real name.
And they did the TFAP thing, like
Mm-hmm.
the abbreviation of the artist formerly known as Prince, TFAP, next to the symbol. Whenever they would print his name and use the symbol,
Right.
they would then put, in parentheses, the artist formerly known as Prince, or TFAP. So it was like, yeah, that's not really working like you thought it was going to, buddy. And the fact that you actually had to send out some kind of font
You could-
kit,
yeah.
I guess, to make sure that everybody had that symbol.
Well, yeah, he had to show people how to make it on a typewriter.
Yeah, basically. It's like, he had to send it out.
Because that's how he created it on a typewriter, by going over.
Oh, a few things. Oh, yeah, is that how that
and
came out?
finding something that worked together.
Something with the T and the P and the F, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Stuff
I
like
find
that,
that hard.
yeah.
I find that he must have used
legit.
wingdings or something because it's
I
such an
think
out
that's what
there.
happens when you put the letters for dumbass all over the same space.
It quite possibly could be, but
Or D-D-D, Carlos Mencia thing.
but Prince,
Mm-hmm.
that dude's got the licks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the Hoff. It's just the Hoff.
Just the Hoff.
All right. Just another another
like
great move by the Hoff.
The Hoffinator.
I mean, So take that for what it will. Now here's we don't have to discuss some of these. I'll just
throw it out there. I won't be compelled at all to have a
throw it out
comment.
there. If you want to comment,
All right.
comment on it. If not,
Okay.
just take it or leave it.
Okay, fair enough.
Doug Liman, director of Swingers, Go, and most recently Edge of Tomorrow, aka Live, Die, Repeat, is currently in talks to direct Gambit,
Oh, that poor guy.
starring Channing Tatum.
That poor guy. Now, wait, what was his credits? What was Lyman's credits right there?
Well, I know him mostly from Swingers. He
Okay.
directed Swingers, Go,
Go.
just a independent film. The Bourne Identity, the first Bourne film,
Okay.
and most recently Edge of Tomorrow, which was renamed for the DVD release Live, Die, Repeat.
They did that?
Yes. If you buy the DVD, it says Live, Die, Repeat.
I still think the original name was better, though.
I think both names suck.
No, both names do suck,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
original name was Kill.
I think they shot themselves in the foot.
All there is
both
kill.
times.
All there is Kill. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's still a better name. But, kids. But, yeah, I mean, look, if you're fucking crazy enough to take this movie on, then you'll suffer for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really buy Channing Tatum as.
I don't buy Channing Tatum as Gambit. I don't buy Gambit. I don't buy Lehman doing the movie. I
would
have
be okay
no.
with Gambit.
I would love to be surprised by it,
What's his
but I
name?
have no
Was
faith.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
There you go.
Already a much better
As
Gambit.
far as I could tell, the only reason this movie's getting made is because Channing Tatum said he wants to play Gambit.
Yeah, it was just a groundswell of interest, and then all of a sudden the studio was like, exactly right.
You know, and it's I mean, I'm really excited for Channing Tatum to play a superhero. I'm just surprised it's this one.
Me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't find him a fit for it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, granted, like an
Wonder
actor, like an. Actually, yeah, that's not actually too bad. Like a,
Wonder Man, that would be about it for him, I think.
that'd be good for him though.
Simon, I think he could play anyone in that DC list. I'd like to see him come to the Warner Brothers side. I think he could play one of those Green Lanterns.
Yeah, I mean, he might be a good Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner.
You know, like, because he does have a bit of a, we have seen him kind of play a little bit of a cockiness to him, so if he was to put that full on.
Or he has the personality for Booster Gold.
There you go.
Definitely.
Like a Booster Gold would be a really good fit, I think, for him. Yeah.
Because he's funny, too.
No, that's what I mean. He's funny, and like, you know, he's also is good at that unintentional funny, and, you know, he's got a personality that, until lately, hasn't been coming out in movies, has finally started to come out in movies, and that, you know, it's going to be one of these guys, he's going to be like Ryan Reynolds. It's going to be hard to see him in something serious. So if you don't play something with some kind of streak of goofiness, which is the problem with Gambit. I think Gambit's one of these ultra serious kind of characters who doesn't really carry it well. You know, that's me. You know, I seem to be in the minority for not having any fucking heart for Gambit.
Well,
No,
Gambit,
they can't.
No.
yeah.
If you're going to have any shot at doing a decent movie with Gambit, you can't write it down.
Gambit's a good supporting character. And I think that's the problem with a lot of X-Men characters, is they're great, insightful characters, but they're all meant to be in an ensemble.
Right. Somebody said this the other day, and it was I saw it on my Twitter, and it's like, oh, so you're gonna go push this Lyman Gambit movie because that's a great character to use, but meanwhile you've been sitting on Storm for 15 fucking years. Yeah. Like you can't make a Storm movie with somebody, like you couldn't have done it with Halle Berry or anybody else that you want to do it with. You couldn't, like, you know. But okay, Gambit must be the way to go. Well, no. Well, I hear that too. Well, that's what I'm kind of getting at. Is that, like, you know, it's just it was like a lame excuse kind of reason to be like, oh yeah, Gambit, because, you know, whatever, we don't have a lot of great secondary characters. Well, you're sitting on a whole team of X-Men that you could divide up, and give them all solo films. You tried, but you did it the wrong way. You know what I mean? You started with Wolverine because you thought that was the way to go. Yeah. You're going to start from the top and go down.
Well, even like Cyclops, who's, you know, always been the lead, most of the times has been the leader of the X-Men. And he hasn't had, has he ever had a successful solo series?
No, because he's a tree stump. He's got all the personality of of a ficus.
He's white toast.
Yeah, literally, as compelling as a slice of white toast.
It will come back as white toast.
Yeah, the strand will.
The strand will read the same as white toast.
Instead of it being like GACA or whatever, how that breaks down, it'll be like TOAST. Just saying.
This news got a large sigh for me.
Hit me.
The Suicide Squad movie is intended to be PG-13.
Well, you know, if that's where they're going from the outright, you can't then puff it up to an R. So
and you know, with the amount of money that they put into a movie like that, and you know, there are no.
Well, it's typical for Warner Brothers.
There are no guarantees. Deadpool, I think people are only thinking that because Deadpool is going to be rated R, and they're saying they made it to be an R movie.
Right. Well, that's
and that is, you know, as good as that movie has a much smaller budget than a lot of the bigger X-Men movies.
Yes.
They know exactly.
It's got a smaller budget than Suicide Squad.
Yeah. They're not trying for the big blockbuster budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't really hold them to the same flame like that.
And Suicide Squad's built-in audience is, I think, much smaller than Deadpool's, and even Deadpool's isn't a guarantee that viewers are going to.
That's why Suicide Squad's got Joker in it, and Batman, because who's going to go fucking see Suicide Squad in the general public unless they see Batman and Joker in the trailer?
Right. They don't know the other characters.
Exactly. And
this movie still has Will Smith attached to it too, right?
Fair enough.
So
fair enough.
All right, people will be drawn in for that, but I don't think it's going to save the movie. I think it's actually going to hurt the movie.
Well, if it was only him, I would say that. Like, you know what I mean? But I think they're going to, eventually in the advertising, they're going to push up the Joker and Batman in it. You know what I mean? That's what's going to get the big play in the ads. Yeah. Even if they don't get the screen time, like we think that they're going to. Like, obviously, Batman's only going to make a cameo.
It's entirely possible.
Joker's going to be in it for a good amount, but he's not going to be like the whole freaking movie, because we're going to lead up to seeing him probably, or he'll be like flashback at the beginning, and then he'll pop up in the current like
time,
you know,
and then,
yeah,
and then in the main battle at the end.
right. That's kind of like
Right.
how I see it.
And
anyway.
Batman too. Same
Right,
thing.
he'll pop
You'll
up at
see-
the end and be like, "All right, I'll take the Joker back. I'll take him back to Arkham. I'll go home. I'm gonna ride this bus back to Gotham.
But remember, people, Bruce Wayne's a nice guy.
Yeah, don't forget Bruce Wayne for president. 2016.
Sci-Fi is currently developing a TV version of Van Helsing.
Why?
Well, you know, it would be an improvement on their usual movie of the week kind of thing.
Yeah, but not an improvement on anything else that they do, though.
It's still not going to get them any ratings.
No. And what's funny, too, is that Sci-Fi just kind of put out this whole new initiative to kind of do, like, better sci-fi shows, kind of rekindle their lineup. And they have stuff in the pike that's coming that is, like, you know, bold attempts at doing that. It's very much like, you know, saying, you know, we had Battlestar Galactica. Like, why can't we get something that shoots for that or better?
Now,
Why
granted,
can't NBC just move Heroes to Sci-Fi?
yeah. Now, granted, this is in the development stage, which means it probably will never happen.
It's got that chance.
They may shoot a pilot and then say, "Screw this,"
Right.
but they're thinking about it.
Right. So here's my point, and Bob kind of tiptoed around, because I said this the other day. I'm like, well, why are you making a Van Helsing when you could have taken Constantine and just reworked Constantine to be the show it should have been once it got to your network, and then it would have taken off for you guys in a much better way.
I know the
My
answer to
thing
that.
is-
I know the answer to that question. It's going to make you very angry.
All right, so let Bob go first then.
No, 'cause my whole thinking was in saying what I said was NBC, as far as I know, owns Sci-Fi.
No, yeah, well, exactly. It's
Right?
in-house.
So,
Right.
So just take from from the network
Yeah.
and give to the cable
Because they just-
it's just that simple.
Okay,
You would think so, but they
Here's-
try to keep such independent and separate animals.
Okay.
NBC will take
NBC.
from those networks, but it won't give to those
Yeah,
networks.
but
Okay.
It's like American
Right.
American Ninja.
Right, yeah, but you know what? It has to work backwards here because if you want to build
I agree.
Sci-Fi,
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to take from A to give to B. Right? Take Heroes, which is not going to do that well on NBC. Put it on Sci-Fi. Maybe you get a hardcore following, and you can get that thing. You can get 3-4 seasons out of it.
Yeah.
and you can get some money out of it that way.
Okay, I'm going to confuse you.
sorry.
I'm going to confuse you guys a lot, but this is.
I'm all ready now.
But
okay.
this is how confusing TV gets, which is that NBC distributed Constantine, but it did not own it.
Right.
Warner Brothers owns Constantine.
Right.
So if Sci-Fi develops their own show that they own, they're going to make more money off of it long term than if they were to lease the rights.
Which is probably why they're
the
doing
rights
Van
are-
Helsing,
right.
because it's a property that's like public domainish enough, unless they're going to actually adapt a previous existing thing like
Yes.
the Hugh Jackman
Yes.
movies
Well,
or something.
the Hugh Jackman movie was Universal, which is
which
owned by
is
NBC.
so that's why they're using that.
Yeah.
Is that actually the
Yes.
the catalyst for this series? Is those movies?
Yes, we have this property, so let's
All right,
go.
so then they are going to recast Van Helsing, the Hugh Jackman Van
The
Helsing.
big
Yes.
the big hat
Okay, so-
adventures.
Which it's funny
gonna
because
fail.
if you watch
Sorry,
that
it's
movie,
doomed for failure, and they think that they're doing the right thing with
Yeah.
every step they're taking.
if
It's
you
one of
watch,
these things that they'd have to do it so fucking amazing to
it's
make it
funny 'cause
last.
if you watch that movie, it's
Yeah.
basically an amalgamation of every major action and fantasy
Yeah.
genre. Like
Absolutely.
the look of Van Helsing is Indiana Jones meets.
You could have
Aragorn.
stopped right when you said, if you watch that movie, and just stopped right there. And then we could have added anything else to the end,
Yeah.
But yeah, never seen it, had no interest in seeing it.
And one last news.
Hugh Jackman's not that cool where he gets me to go
I
see
think
a
I
movie
played
just because
the
he's in
demo
it.
version of the video game, so maybe
That's basically what you're going to get on
at the level,
Sci-Fi.
That's my whole experience with Van Helsing.
And one last
One last,
news
okay,
piece, which is that Fox has set a premiere date for Lucifer.
which you don't know off the top of your head, do you? Like
It's January 25th.
you passed the
And
quiz.
it will be, I believe it will be following the premiere of X-Files.
Well, I'll tell you something, buddy. January 26th
Mm-hmm.
is that Outsider show I was talking about. I forgot to mention that. So, you know what's funny is I was looking at the guy for Lucifer, and I thought he would actually make a pretty good-looking preacher, Jesse Custer.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob,
Yes.
for reading my mind.
It actually was. I had no idea where you were going at it.
But that's just all.
I was just going to put that out
It's
there.
60% of what falls out of my mouth lately. So
And-
it might.
It's funny, both comics were Vertigo.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
But they sort of have inverse storylines.
Yeah, and what's funny here is like some people because they don't know the Preacher stuff a little bit. They're like, oh, so does this mean like John Constantine could be on? And I just like to say that no. Preacher is his own.
He could be on Lucifer.
He could be on Lucifer. I mean, that's the kind of the way it goes. The Preacher thing exists in its own world. It's not like the tied together kind of Vertigo stuff you'd find with Swamp Thing, Hellblazer. Help me out, Ed. Is there a couple others like Sandman, Dr. Fate? Like these kind of books all kind of dibble dabble in and out of each other.
And all of those books aren't Vertigo anymore. They've been folded back into the proper DCU. Most of them. Anyway.
Not Sandman though, because that's always going to be a once in a while thing. But and it'll stay Vertigo because they got to keep that as the benchmark for Vertigo.
Yeah.
Like Hellblazer, they want to try and fold him into the main DCU so you could just use him there more. And you know,
Swamp Thing's back there too.
I think the whole initiative for Hellblazer though started when the show was still on, and it was a matter of, well, you know, it's on a TV show now. We should probably make it a little more accessible and family friendly and a little less British. You know what I mean? Let's Americanize him as much as possible, more than Keanu. But
you know, you went from oi to whoa.
Right.
Well, and just the one thing about that show, and the show kind of came close to this, but the one thing about that character, especially in the Vertigo book,
right,
is he's a bastard.
Well, yeah, he's a bigger jerk off than he is on the show.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be. His life sucks.
But it's the kind of thing where he will do something, and you will think that he's on your side, and at the last second he will sacrifice you and kill you because he just can't help himself.
And I think he did do that a couple times on the show.
Yeah.
But they don't make too big a deal out of it. Yeah. And the people who are mad at him about it eventually see his side of it. They don't walk away still very, very angry. And it's more like, oh, John, why are you going to be a dick? And he's like, well, it's all right, I'm going to be a dick because X, Y, Z, and this, that, the other thing, and therefore you'll fall ahead of the dog. Oh, all right, John, I guess so.
Well, the other thing is he actually voiced that he felt bad about doing those things, which the real concept, you could see it in his face, like I'm a horrible person, but he would never admit it.
Right. Which is more like in the tone of the book. But I feel like it's a show that, like, you know, I knew you could feel like it wasn't going to stick.
Yeah, you just knew from the get-go it wasn't built for network.
Granted, it was like they put it on Fridays with Grimm, and it had a chance there, and it was slowly developing, but I don't know how Grimm lasted as long as it did on Friday nights, because Friday nights is such a wasteland for TV shows that they don't seem to ever get a fair shake.
Well, shows on Friday night actually they're more lenient with.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I guess it comes down to dollars and cents, because NBC is making Grimm themselves and they own it outright. That the costs are a different way.
Plus, also with syndication, and this is we're getting into real technical jargon here.
No, we're not.
But
not for us.
But if a show makes it to a third season, it's almost guaranteed a fourth. So it's the kind of thing where, like, you know, with Constantine, it's the kind of thing where they could have let it ride, and if they let it ride long enough, they would have been forced to keep it going. So it's
cut losses kind of thing.
Yeah, it's basically.
Yeah, I can see that. You know, but mostly because it's cut all losses because we're not making enough overall anyway. Could we keep it alive?
Because it was trailing in the ratings following Grimm in season season 4 or 5 of that show. So it was the kind of thing where they had to take those ratings from Grimm because they need the episodes for syndication. And since it wasn't holding that Grimm audience, it was getting even lower ratings. It just wasn't worth it.
No, I mean, ultimately, it does become a thing where it's about dollars and cents, and it's like it just adds up differently for Grimm. Even in Grimm's first season, if he was getting the same ratings as Hellraiser was getting, it's I should just say Constantine.
Yeah, it was
Constantine. It's not as cool. Even if they was getting the same kind of like ratings, but because you know what I mean, like the dollars and cents, the pluses and minuses of it, it's operating in the black still. Whereas Constantine getting those kinds of ratings because it costs more, or because we pay out more, we look at those costs differently. Like, because that's the thing sometimes too. It's not about it's making more, it's this, that, the other. It's like, well, the budgets are the same, but since we own that, it's in-house.
Exactly.
It's in-house money.
Same thing that we were talking about before.
Right, exactly.
We're not paying for the license.
Exactly. So, with that, Ed, do you have anything else over there?
I think I'm good for email. Did we talk about the Flash?
Yeah, we're going to get into the Flash. I'm going to skip out this other thing here. I can save that for another episode. Yo. So, yeah, your boy got beat up last weekend.
Yeah, he got his ass kicked.
Just when you thought like this episode wasn't really going to be that
Really?
good, you know, I mean,
Oh, I was about done with that at that point.
Bob leaned in. He's like, "We're going to talk about the Flash. I'm here, folks."
I'm awake now.
But that's exactly the situation. Like I was like, "Oh, it was a good episode. It was kind of mediocre. All right,
I'm like,
you know."
okay, there's about 14 minutes left. What's going on?
And I'm like, even when Zoom pops up, I'm like, "Okay, cool, Zoom."
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Oh no, Zoom is going to fuck this kid up."
Yeah, I didn't think Zoom was going to fight. I thought we were going to get like a 2-minute soliloquy. He was going to leave. You know, he was going to abuse him a little bit.
Nope.
So we could see what he's capable of, and then he was going to leave, and we were going to talk about him for the next half of the season.
No, here's a taste bitch. I'll come back for the rest later.
Yeah. And not only that, like just basically, the best part about that, like obviously the cool visual is when Zoom is running and he's scooped up Barry, and Barry is like limp, unconscious, or whatever at that point because
he's just dragging Barry around.
It's just dragging him around the whole city and then stopping and showing people like at the quick check, like, "Hey, you're a hero.
I kicked his ass.
He's my
bitch.
You know, this is my town now, basically. You know, you're answering to me, like, you know, like just go to the next place. Be like, yeah, hey, just let you know, this guy's a bitch.
Oh yeah, I want to stop the newspaper. Make sure everybody knows.
Is the cameras on, please? Yes, I'll wait. Thank you.
Go get the mayor and everybody else. I want to make sure that everybody knows.
The only thing, like, I think that didn't happen, and I was kind of like, oh, will they do it? Like, I was waiting for him like, to pull off Barry's mask at one of these places. Like, I thought, like, oh, he's going to go to the next one and maybe pull the mask off and reveal, like, who Barry is to somebody. Like, you know, but then again, my mind was going a million miles a minute anyway.
It's all about humiliation. That would end him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is this now? Did you listen to our episode last week?
Yeah, all the theories.
Yeah, what did you think?
I think some of them were plausible.
Yeah, I think some more than others, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm actually more convinced than ever now that Zoom is Barry.
That Zoom is actually the other version of Barry. Now, where are you leaning?
Well, actually, the theory where that it was Henry Allen of Earth 2 sounded to me very similar to the Batman in the Flashpoint universe story.
Okay.
In which spoilers. Those of you who haven't read DC's Flashpoint
or seen the cartoon,
the
which
cartoon.
is not for kids. Let me tell you.
Yes,
heard from two people that they thought they could put it in front of their kid and it would be okay, and it is not.
No.
But point being that in that universe, in this other alternate version of the world,
yes, Batman is Thomas Wayne,
the dad.
Yes,
and Bruce actually is the one who dies in the alley.
Yes.
And I mean, how spoiler do you want to get about that? But the cool thing in that is that Mom ends up as the Joker.
Yes.
What? Bob's like, yeah. Actually, and for a time travel thing that like typically like old time travel stories do.
She blames him. He blames her. They're at odds.
Yeah, basically. Basically.
Well, and just that idea
not too
that
transparent when you think about it.
You know.
I saw what you did there. Parent.
And also that idea that Henry Allen may have been so incensed that he found a way to become a speedster, went back, killed Earth 2's Reverse Flash,
right,
and then just became so crazy that he just decided to eat up all of these speedsters to get their energy.
Well, one of the things that this show is good for doing is actually kind of spinning the motivations. Like sometimes, like
and leaving open so many possibilities.
Leaving open a lot of possibilities, but also too like when you think because everybody was doing that with Wells in season 1. Like even if like you were hip to the fact of okay, it's not exactly Wells in there. I think it's somebody else inside Wells's body, which me and Dom called early on, but like we didn't peg down like his motivation or anything like that, or his reasons or his logic. So it's one thing. It's easy to say, okay, I think it's this guy or I think it's that guy. It's like okay, but why is he so intent on ruining Barry's image, the Flash's image? Like, why not just kill him and leave him and be done? Like, why the compulsion to take him around town and flaunt it? Like, is that something? Can we glean something from that? Like, is that like But you really can't, because if it's an alternate reality version, that guy's whole list of reasons are very, very different, are going to be flipped. Right. You know what I mean? And it just seems like he's on a power kick kind of a thing.
To me, it seems like he's just driven to gain speed at this point, and any initial motivation for doing that is probably gone. He's probably like evolved or warped beyond anything else.
Right,
So
whatever he might have
the person who
initially.
he was is, for all intents and purposes, gone. But I'm thinking it's Barry simply because in another Earth, Barry gets speed, and he's still motivated to like try and save his mom.
Right.
You know, and by whatever reason he feels he's got to like get faster and faster to do that.
Now
And then he gets it. That spirals out of control. That aspect of it.
another thing I was going to say that you could consider is the casting, because the voice actor of Zoom is Tony Todd of the Candyman, and he done a lot of horror movies and sci-fi movies.
Right.
But
you talking about the big guy who used to be like play a mentally challenged guy? You talking about the guy who actually played Candyman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The black guy.
Yeah. He was also.
Oh no, I'm thinking about someone else.
Yeah, I know. He also played Worf's brother in Star Trek.
Oh yeah, okay. I know
oh, now I know. So
yeah,
you could kind of glean some stuff from that if you wanted to. I mean, a person could even say, well, it's an African American voice. Does that mean that the guy in the suit is an African American character? If you want to take it that far,
yeah. Also, he's a name actor, but they just use him for a voice role.
Well, that's one of the things. Like his voice by itself doesn't need any amping up. Like he's just got one of those voices where it's just so reedy and deep at the same time.
Yeah, it's got that. He's got enough bass in his voice, and then it sounds like he's used to smoke 2 packs a day.
And so how much of that, is something you can take something from? Ed,
I don't know.
I don't really think you can take anything from it.
I don't know. I mean, it could be just him changing his voice, or it could be just a completely different character who we haven't met yet.
Which we covered.
Could be Jay Garrett.
Yeah, which was one of the possibilities.
Jay Garrett right now has no speed. Maybe
it's Earth 3, Jay Garrett.
Yeah, but he's supposed to fall in love with Caitlin.
Yeah.
Says
who? Well, and then
is that in the comics?
Falls in love with Caitlin is destined to die, right?
die. Well, Don pointed out to me that when they do that whole thing where, like, he's looking for metahumans with that little device, with the little wristwatch, his iTunes thing, it doesn't go off for Caitlin.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. So if she's to become, actually, like, was kind of teased in the one episode where you saw Snow Girl or whatever her Killer Frost. Killer Snow Murder. So, like, is she actually going to be destined to become that in our world?
Well,
and I just don't feel like it's a good fit if she did. Like, that character is so, like, squeamishy, kind of like,
I think that's the kind of thing,
in a way.
That's the kind of thing they would develop for her, I think, in the next, not this season, maybe next
long
season,
term.
If they're going to do that to her, it would definitely be a long term thing.
I would see her probably being the kind of character who's, like, never cool with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's got those powers, but she still kind of doesn't really go out and save the day.
Yeah, and Killer Frost is a villain.
Well, that's the thing.
Unless she loses another love of her life, or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's the ironic part is her fiance is Firestorm, or was Firestorm, and Killer Frost is a Firestorm villain. So trying to figure out how
that's an interesting play on that, because my DC knowledge is not as deep as yours, but that's cool. I didn't catch that spin. I didn't know that spin.
In the comics, Caitlin Snow is I think she just for the New 52, she's Killer Frost.
Okay, all right.
That's where they got the name from.
Gotcha. So that was a thing for me too. I was like, it's rare that I can come into these things and not know who certain characters are. So that's why some of this was good for me, because it's like, I didn't have any clue that Cisco would one day become anybody. Like, that name didn't tip me off. Her name didn't tip me off. Like,
I knew right away.
You know what I mean? No, yeah. Well, normally that's my role. Normally that's my position. It's like, I know who that guy is. What was that name? I know what that company is.
Now,
like,
you know what I feel like when Marvel sets out a piece, and I got to go on Wikipedia look up all these names.
Exactly. It's like, is that person somebody? Does he become somebody? Like, does it matter?
That's why S.H.I.E.L.D. is so hard for me to watch, because I'm like pulling it out. Like, is that a person? Is that real? Is it not?
There's a lot of reasons.
Who the heck is Gravitron?
Megatron? Is that the right guy? Is that the right show? Optimus? Is that this? Is it no? Okay. But don't get me started on the problems with S.H.I.E.L.D. But what's cool about the Flash is that, like, they've got it in play now. Whereas we kind of felt, not excluding you, Ed, but, like, we kind of felt it was taking it's not quite where we wanted it to start out the season. It took a little while, it felt like, to get its gears going.
It's a chess match, man.
You should have seen the look on his face when he said that. It's a chess match,
It's a
baby.
chess match, man.
My rook to your bishop. Boom. I don't even know if that means anything.
This isn't a cable show. We're dealing with 10 or 12 or 13 episodes.
Fair enough.
They're going to stretch this out over 22, man.
Yeah, fair enough. I was watching a video today of actually the guy, Drew McWeeny from Hit Fix, talk about how he was wrong about the show because he dismissed it after watching the pilot for Gotham and then immediately in a rage because he was raging about how shitty that was, putting in the pilot for Flash. And then he was carrying too much rage over. And now since rewatching, because the first season appeared on Netflix, and he's been watching it with his kids. And so he's realized how wrong he was about that first episode and how wrong he's, like, to just dismiss the whole season outright, even from a pilot's position. Like, okay, it's the first episode. Everybody knows that normally first episodes, all right, it's not too indicative of where the show's going to go. You know what I mean? Like, by the fact alone that a pilot is made, and then 4 months later you go back and make the rest. In between there, you make some tweaks and some changes sometimes.
That's why the real way to judge a show is episode 2.
2 or 3, yeah. But though, if a show knocks it out of the park in the first episode, you just hold on to your seats in a way. Like, you know what I mean? Or cry now because they're going to fucking change all that shit you like. Like, there was a couple of shows where, like, I felt that first episode, and it was like, wow, the pacing was great. Like, the momentum it had, they got to keep this up every week. And then it's like, it slowed it all down. Like, you know what I mean? Because they just had so much to jam into a first episode. So it's like the tempo doesn't live up to the rest of the season. But, so his point that I liked was that basically, like, you know, this season we're only 6 episodes in. And I was like, shit. Wow, that's a lot more to go. So with that, like you were just saying, like, yeah, you know, we're only a few of the episodes in. We just started to really touch on Zoom now. So obviously, you know, we're going to have more of that. You know,
it's going to be the focus for the rest of the season, to be sure.
You know, Grodd is coming back this week, this new episode. Barry's in a wheelchair. I want to know if between Wells and Cisco, if they can make him some super wheelchair.
Yeah, you've got to lay that track. You know you're also going to have a crossover with Arrow at some point.
That's coming. They released a group picture of that, of the Hawk peoples, of Hawkman and Hawk girl or woman.
And I am very wary of Hawkman.
I got a feeling the whole thing is going to be an egg.
No, because Hawkman...
Is he going to be carrying a briefcase?
I don't even know if he's got wings.
Birdman.
It's Harvey Birdman.
Even for comic book readers, Hawkman is the hardest one to keep track of.
Yeah.
Because he is a alien police officer from another planet called Planet Thanagar.
Right.
But he's also the reincarnation of an Egyptian prince.
And also a bus driver on the weekends.
Yeah.
And then hijinks ensue this week on Hawkman and Hawk Girl.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a dream for a Scientologist dream.
Well, he's definitely...
I always thought the trick to those characters is if you played it like a married couple. Just figure out this
Right. The dynamic, the relationship kind of dynamic.
This is mad about you with superpowers.
This is mad.
Then you can
bring in Paul Reiser as the dad, and we're good to go. You know what I mean?
Paul Reiser as Hawkman.
So to me, it's like, all right, at least they're kind of going to stick all these second stringers on the second stringer League of Justice.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Mañana. So it's like, you know, I don't know. It's League of Losers to me. It's like a bunch of second stringers.
But there's Rip Hunter.
Was that a porn star? Like, I don't even, like, you know, no.
He's a Time Lord.
No, I know. I get it. He rips through the time stream and then he hunts people. I get it. It's comic books. The name has to be their job. I get it.
Like Brick Mason.
Yes, exactly. Stuff like that. Peter Parker. He's a valet. You know. So with that, it's like, you know, all right, cool. But the picture was just like, I'm not feeling it really. Like, they look as good as they can possibly look for TV, and it's cool, and I'm glad they look as good as they do. Yeah. It's just they're wearing big bird also, helmets. Yeah. It's a little rough.
Like the trailer that we saw,
right?
That's all they shot. They didn't do a pilot. They literally just shot that concept. And like
it's like a sizzle. It's a sizzle
reel.
That
to CW, and that's what CW put on the air.
I thought that was a whole pilot they shot.
No,
okay.
No. So we don't know anything.
So they probably shot like a couple of scenes. Stuff that they'll use in the pilot. Probably some of it. Maybe we'll see. But that's funny because that teaser looked like that. Like it was all plucked out of a pilot. Yeah, interesting.
That's and you could see on Arrow like they're already setting up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, and they set up Firestorm already.
Firestorm's all set up on his own adventures. Can't wait to find some friends.
Mm-hmm.
Arrow's trying to...
We're in Pittsburgh.
We just got to figure out why Black Canary is going to change her name to White Canary.
Right, well, she's back from the dead.
Yes.
So that's what you do when you
Yes.
come back from the dead. You flip your allegiance to colors, I guess.
I had a very funny text exchange with my sister.
Is it safe for radio?
Yes.
Okay.
When that Constantine episode aired, because she was a fan of Constantine.
Oh, okay.
But she doesn't watch Arrow. And
Okay.
I just dropped a line, Constantine showed up on Arrow this week. She goes, why? You know,
Fair enough. They needed somebody to do magic.
Well, they brought someone back back from the dead and forgot to restore their soul. Who else are you going to call?
I mean, come on.
Ghostbusters.
You know what I mean? And not for nothing, but like that happens all the time. Like whenever I bring somebody back from the dead, I'm like, oh, I keep forgetting the soul.
Right, yeah.
Keep forgetting about
You
the
get that whole
soul.
Pet Cemetery thing.
And I go, Bob, you got John's number?
And not for nothing, she was pretty high functioning for a person without a soul. Like, I kind of feel like if you didn't have your soul, you'd be kind of, maybe a little depressed or bored.
What's funny is that's actually pretty much the Quiver storyline. Kevin Smith's first.
Right.
Just they instead of Green Arrow, they did it with Black Canary.
There you go. Well, that's the thing that they end up having to do, or choose to do sometimes, is switch this stuff around. Sometimes for the best, sometimes not, but it's all a matter of opinion on it anyway. But, so now let's go through that lineup on that Legends of Days of Our Lives. It's
We've got
one canary.
We got White Canary.
White Canary.
Firestorm. Captain Cold. Heat Wave. Adam.
Hawk Dude.
Hawkman was not in that
listed.
teaser.
Okay.
It was just Hawk Girl.
He gonna die. All right. Well, maybe. Or he goes back to Thangaria.
Yeah, and
Thangalina.
yes, and I think
Rip Hunter.
And Rip Hunter. Yeah,
And Rip Hunter, because it's just like, oof. That can't be a show where they start introducing new characters. I feel like not to add them to the mix. I mean, if you want to introduce them, establish them, and they're in the world
what's
or whatever.
Funny is the two new characters are Hawk Girl and the other half of Firestorm.
Right.
Which they've already introduced on Flash.
Right. But my point being that, like,
The mechanic.
Yeah.
there's just no wiggle room on that show. I feel like you can't obviously add anybody new long term. You got too many people on your plate. You're going to be introducing new villains probably all the time. And
it's a half season, so you don't know. They may do one story, and then next season they might have a completely different lineup.
Well, and also if the network falls in love with it somehow, it just says, okay, then the commitment now is full season. You know what I mean? I kind of like the truncated idea, especially for something like that.
Yeah,
keep it tight.
I actually like the idea of switching people in and out. Like maybe this season we'll have Booster Gold and Blue Beetle on one for it, or you might switch. Basically all of like the second tier DC characters that you can pull out.
Well, what's cool about it too, I think, is the hook of it. That it's some time travel, dimension hopping. More time travel, but it's going to get crazy like that. So
and they said
it opens the door for
the
bringing
villain for the first season is Vandal Savage.
Right.
Which
he's a vandal. He breaks up other people's
savage.
property.
Oddly enough, my first choice to play him would have been Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, but he's not going. He's not slumming. He's like, if I'm going to be a bad guy on a TV show, it's going to be like a high-rated TV show.
No. Actually, you know why CW would never cast him?
He's controversial.
He's not pretty.
There you go. And he's like over 40.
This is the one requirement. Sometimes when something
he's good looking, but he ain't good looking enough.
Sometimes when something really cheesy or soap opera-ish happens on that network, I go, oh, wait a minute, CW, everyone has to be pretty.
Right. There has to be a relationship on the show.
Yes.
Right. Somebody has to be pining for somebody else at all times, which makes me wonder, like, who's Rip Hunter going to hook up with?
And they have to look beautiful doing it.
Yeah, well, we have to keep the girls watching, as if they wouldn't watch any other way. It's kind of like an insult to women. Like, it's like, girls, we know what you like. You like makeup and cute boys, and you don't like adventure or action stuff. So we're just gonna go with that.
It's funny, like we
deals with the empowerment.
We say that like it's insulting them, but I bet you if you asked many girls, maybe not most, but many would probably go damn straight.
Damn straight, son.
So there are a lot of women who actually watch
oh, absolutely.
Like Fast and Furious, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's good about it, though, too,
not so much
is...
in the 80s, but these days they seem to be a little bit more into it.
I think there's more of a crossover. I think it's, it's how they obviously by putting more women in these movies and not just as a lampshade, but an actual active participant in the story, like women feel like they're right. They feel like they're represented, which is the Bachelor test. It's that kind of thing. So before we wrap up,
okay,
I do have two last things from Agent Palmer. Which I know I didn't really save them intentionally for the end, but I see one does kind of work that way. So real quick, Agent Palmer wants to know, does anybody have any geeky holiday traditions? And at first I couldn't really place what he might mean by that, but I guess something equatable might be like, some people every Halloween, they have to watch the Charlie Brown Halloween Christmas special. The Halloween special.
The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, or even the Christmas special. Like, I guess these kinds of things. I mean, I don't know what qualifies as a geeky holiday.
My two favorite Christmas movies I have to watch every year are Die Hard and Lethal Weapon.
Okay, right. Well, you want to celebrate.
Happy Christmas.
I know. That makes that works for me. Like anything kind of Christmas time of year works and falls under that. But
yeah, I just don't need to see. Was it Christmas on 42nd Street?
Yeah, the old school holiday movies.
34th Street?
There you go.
Oh, I eat all those up.
No, we know it. You're fucking show tunes. If anybody in this place is like Johnny Show Tunes, it's you.
It's like seeing The Wizard of Oz for the 30,000th time.
Right, there's only so much.
I have to watch at least 10 different versions of Christmas Carol. Because you got the Mickey Mouse version, you got the Muppets version.
Don't forget the Henry Winkler version.
And you got the classic with Alistair Sim.
Somebody needs to make a list of all the episodes.
The Bill Murray version.
Episodes of TV shows that did their own Christmas Carol. Like somebody would get bonked in the head and they'd have a dream, and it would be everybody on the show was now a character from a Christmas Carol. Like I feel like I saw this on I don't know, like Different Strokes or something stupid. I feel like some show's done this.
Absolutely,
very 80s thing to do.
Fish.
Barney Miller reference.
Yeah, well, just think of Fish as a Christmas special.
Okay. The band.
No, Abe Vigoda.
Abe Vigoda. with his, his black.
Oh, check it. Abe Vigoda, dead or alive? Is he dead or alive?
I think he's still alive.
There's a website, Abe Vigoda, deadoralive.com. He's alive. That's all it does. It's just today's status, alive.
Yeah, they have a camera set up in his hospital room.
It's just a guy following him.
You can hear beep, beep, and when it just goes beep,
well, that's it.
No.
He's looked like death since 1972.
Really?
He hasn't looked good for a long time.
In The Godfather, which is like the earliest movie I know of him, he looks like death.
Right, he looks like he's about
rolled
80
over
in 1973, and he's still alive.
Some guys don't drop, man. All right, so the last.
He has a midget following him around with the defibrillator.
So the last thing here is a question for Ed from Agent Palmer, and it's just kind of basic. But how does it feel to answer your own emails? Like
it's a little awkward.
It's a little awkward, but I'd have to say that you knew that these emails were coming.
Yeah.
So is it like a time travel destiny kind of thing?
You have to prepare for your answers.
Did you?
No. I will say I make it a point not to think of an answer until I've asked you guys the question.
Like this is I'm going to be on the show this week. This is a softball for me.
Yeah.
I am prepare my statements now. Type it out. Punch it up.
Yeah. And so usually I will let you guys react.
Oh, thank you.
Because I don't want to impose.
No, I hear that. That's good.
Because we all have friends who will ask that stupid question because they don't care what your answer is. They just want to tell you theirs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they're waiting for their turn to talk. Really, it's the Fight Club thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's really kind of it. I'm looking over my notes, and that's about it. I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, this is it. So we're going to wrap it up. Even though he wasn't here, I will say hi, Dom, if you're listening.
Hey, Dom.
And we'll give him a plug for his Twitter account. It's Dom_Torre, Torre, on the Twitters. You can find me on there as well at Wicked Theory. You can find these episodes of, I don't know, anything else we might do on wickedtheory.com. Send us an email at podcast, because this is a podcast.
At wickedtheory.com.
At wickedtheory.com. And check out Preacher versus Preacher, people. Now on iTunes.
Oh, I have one quick thing. I've had a Twitter account. It's Edward O'Hare TBD.
Okay, it's still up.
I have not.
You're gonna blow the dust off it.
I have not used it yet, but I'm seriously considering it.
Okay,
So-
all right. That's either a thing you do or you don't. But
Yep.
the considering is slow moving. But you can just do like I did for a long time, which is like just barely post anything.
Yeah.
And just kind of follow stuff along. I mean, that's how it started for me, really. It was like, oh, there's a couple of people I knew that had Twitter accounts, celebrities or whatnot, that I was really into. And one thing leads to another. And before you know it, you got a big 400 and something followers like me. Making my way. Yeah, so do that, kids. Yeah, I guess that's it. Ed, anything to say?
Thank you for having me on.
You better fucking thank us. And maybe we'll do it again if you're nice. All right?
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm free next week.
Well, I'm not paying you. Oh, you meant a different kind of free. No, I got you. And then I guess that's it. Brother Bob, you can take us out of here, man.
Permission to speak freely, sir.
I welcome it.
Do you? Okay, then. Are you out of your Vulcan mind?